Chapter 1169. There seems to be a lot of elixirs. First of all, Xiaoping noticed that there were a lot of elixirs related to cultivation in the spatial rings of these people. He carefully counted and found at least 100 bottles with many different kinds of elixirs inside. Good stuff. They are very suitable for your cultivation and can increase your magic power. Corinne also saw the situation of these spatial rings and said, for example, this is the 5 elements pill from 5 elements sect, Lingyun sect's cloudy pill, and Guiyuan sect's origin pill. They are all famous elixirs in the universe, and their value is not inferior to Qiankuan sect's universe pill. If you take one, it can save you at least 3 months of cultivation. Xiaoping knew that sacred level sects have their own unique elixirs, and 5 elements pill is said to contain the power of the 5 elements, which has a great effect on the human body, allowing the human body to reach a state of balance between the 5 elements. Cloudy pill is a unique elixir of Lingyun sect, which can nourish the body and heal internal injuries. It has great benefits for improving the quality of the human body, and can also promote the potential of the human body. Guiyuan sect's origin pill is extremely fierce, and has the effect of 10,000 methods returning to 1. It is like a fierce elixir, and if the body can bear it, its cultivation effect is the first among all the elixirs. Of course, Qiankuan sect's yin and yang pill is also not bad, containing the power of yin and yang. It can only be said that each has its own strong points. Not bad, it seems that there are no less than 20 to 30,000 elixirs. This time I can be considered rich. Xiaoping was very happy. These elixirs are enough for him to cultivate to the divine power realm. It is simply a windfall. If he wanted to earn 30,000 yin and yang pills in a sect, he doesn't know how long he would have to wait. Robbery is really the first way to get rich, but the risk is a bit big, and if he fails, he will die. Moreover, in addition to elixirs, he also found the magic weapons on the bodies of these cultivators. In the universe, except for some poor ghosts, basically everyone has a treasure rank magic weapon, which can be said to be basic equipment. As disciples of sacred level sects, these cultivators naturally also have some magic weapons. Spirit tools are really too precious, and ordinary disciples can't have them, but there are still many high-grade treasure rank magic weapons. At least, Xiaoping found a lot of them from these spatial rings. Corinne carefully calculated this time, Xiaoping obtained no less than 40 high-grade treasure rank magic weapons, 60 middle-grade treasure rank magic weapons, and a number of low-grade treasure rank magic weapons. These treasures were divided into sabers, swords, bows and arrows, halberds, drums, and so on. If he sold these treasured weapons, he would be able to get at least tens of millions of universe credits. Of course, the most precious of these magic treasures was the shadow-devouring demon sword in Chen Wei's hand. Its value was more than 10 times that of a high-grade artifact. Although this was a demon sword and was not suitable for Xiaoping to use, if he sold it, he would definitely make a lot of money. That's right, didn't this kid say that he had the red mist on him? Why can't I find it anywhere? Xiaoping rummaged through Chen Wei's spatial ring, but he couldn't find the poison. He must be bragging. Corinne disdainfully said, red mist is really too precious. It is incomparably difficult to obtain. If he really has red mist on him, he would have already taken it out when he fought with you just now. Also, if he really had this kind of poisonous fog, he would have killed all these soul warriors long ago. Why would he need to sign a mental contract with them and rely on cooperation to obtain soul stones? It believed that Chen Wei was lying. You're right. Xiaoping nodded, agreeing with Corinne's words. However, he was more or less regretful in his heart. If he could obtain the red mist, he would have one more trump card in his hand. Even if he encountered a strong enemy, he could use the red mist to deal with the enemy and catch them off guard. Although there is no red mist, I found a lot of poisons in this kid's spatial ring. There are slow-acting poisons, strong poisons, soul-inducing medicine, and so on. Corinne clicked his tongue and said, there is even the cultivation-dissolving poison that you guys were poisoned with. It seems that this kid is simply a little devil. He has long been accustomed to using such despicable methods. He is really well prepared. Corinne was also a little surprised. He found no less than 100 kinds of poisons in Chen Wei's spatial ring, each with a different effect. Some poisons could even easily kill a transcendent realm cultivator. It was likely that this was also Chen Wei's preparation in advance for entering the Blood Soul continent. With these poisons, he could mix in this place like a fish in water and succeed in every endeavor. Cultivation-dissolving poison. Xia Ping raised his eyebrows. He finally knew the name of the poison that could turn many cultivators' magic power into nothingness. It turned out to be called cultivation-dissolving poison. It really lived up to its name. By the way, doesn't this poison need to be mixed together with 2 different materials to condense into cultivation-dissolving poison? Won't it be very troublesome to use the poison like this? Xia Ping asked. Corinne shook his head. No, this is Chen Wei plotting against you. He only did this because he wanted to delay the poison in your body for half a day. That's why he mixed them together to delay the poison miss effect. If you mix them in advance, you can make a bottle of colorless and odorless poisonous gas that will immediately take effect. If the enemy smells this poisonous gas, they will fall to the ground in less than 3 minutes. Now, there are 2 or 3 bottles of cultivation-dissolving poison in this spatial ring. If you need it, you can immediately use it as a trump card. Corinne indicated that a poison like cultivation-dissolving poison was classified as a forbidden drug in the universe. It only circulated in the black market and could not be sold openly. If one wanted to obtain it, they would have to pay a huge price. He didn't know what method Chen Wei of Guiyuan sect had used to obtain it. This is good. Xia Ping touched his chin. He knew how powerful this poison was. It could silently knock down the enemy. It was simply a necessary medicine for home travel, murder, and arson. Under certain circumstances, the effect of this poison was astonishing. After half an hour, Xia Ping and Corinne finished taking inventory of the treasures on their body. Then, Xia Ping carried away the unconscious Chang Xian and the others and placed them in a secret cave 100 miles away. He wasn't interested in detoxifying the poison in Chang Xian and the others. So, he let them continue to sleep. Otherwise, when they woke up, it would be very difficult for him to explain himself. Moreover, Xia Ping wasn't interested in explaining such a thing. In short, after leaving the Blood Soul continent, it would be very difficult for him to meet Chang Xian and the others. Their fate would end here. As for whether they would live or die in the future, it would depend on their luck. Chapter 1170. In the Cave of the Mineral Vein. Xia Ping and Lu Rulan strolled in and saw many digging tools on the ground. There were traces of digging and gravel everywhere. However, it seemed like it was just the beginning and the work had not been going on for a long time. Lu Rulan knew that it was normal. After all, it had not been long since Zhuo Hao obtained the Soul Stone mineral vein. Moreover, he had to send people to kill them and do all sorts of things to cover up his actions. They were even unlucky enough to encounter Chen Wei and the rest who had descended from the sky, causing them to be unable to excavate the soul stones properly. That was why they were still in a state where they had yet to begin. As expected of a soul stone mineral vein, the spiritual energy is so dense. Xia Ping took a deep breath. As soon as he entered the cave, he could sense the dense spiritual energy. It seemed like a slight breath could increase his spiritual energy slightly. Even though he had devoured the remnant spiritual energy of Zhuo Hao and the rest, it could not compare to the soul stone mineral vein. It was like a paradise. How do you want to excavate it? Lu Rulan looked at Xia Ping as if she was watching a show. It was not easy to excavate a mountain. Although the destructive power of a cultivator on divine level was shocking, it did not mean that he could excavate the mineral vein easily. If he used too much strength, he might even shatter the soul stone. By then, the loss would outweigh the gain. However, if he was not careful, the entire mountain would collapse and he would be buried alive in the mountain. It would be even more difficult to excavate the soul stone. Even if none of those things happened, it would take a long time to excavate the entire mineral vein. It would take at least a few months. It's just a small matter. Xia Ping smiled. He had already thought of what to do. With a swoosh, the golden slime appeared on the ground. What? Lu Rulan was shocked. It was her first time seeing such a strange creature. However, since it was released by Xia Ping, she did not think it would be too dangerous. Moreover, The creature was soft like a ball and looked very cute. Compared to the ferocious beasts, it was a mascot that made people want to hug it. Let's do it. Dig out the soul stones here. Xia Ping gave an order to the golden slime. He reckoned that there were very few creatures in the universe that could match the golden slime's mining speed. After all, it was a unique creature that grew by devouring various substances in the world. Mining was a common thing for it. Slime. The golden slime cried out. All of a sudden, its entire body split apart. In just a few breaths' time, hundreds and thousands of golden slimes appeared on the empty ground. However, these golden slimes were much smaller than the original, only the size of a fist. This was the slime's splitting ability. They could split into multiple clones and increase the speed of devouring. The golden slimes were the pinnacle existences of the slime's race, and their cloning abilities were naturally top-notch. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Hundreds and thousands of golden slimes cried out. They immediately moved into the depths of the mine, opened their mouths, and began to devour the huge rocks. At once, the rocks in the entire cave disappeared at a speed visible to the naked eye, as if they were melted by some substance and were devoured into the stomach of the golden slime. That's fast. Lu Rulan's beautiful eyes widened. She could not believe her eyes. Under the devouring of the golden slime, the entire mine seemed to have disappeared. It was as if the entire mountain was being devoured by the golden slime. Even top-notch mining experts could not match up to such a mining speed. Moreover, it was as if its stomach was loaded with a dimensional bag. No matter how much it devoured, it could not be filled. Half a day passed in the blink of an eye. Under the devouring of the golden slime, the entire mountain seemed to have been hollowed out. In fact, it was hundreds of meters underground. At this moment, a small hill of soul stones appeared on a huge empty ground. These were all excavated by the golden slime. After a careful count, there were at least 100,000 soul stones. This was an astronomical number. Even in the entire Blood Soul mainland, it was a shocking number. Such rich soul energy. Xia Ping was shocked too. The energy of 100,000 soul stones stacked together was extremely shocking. Even with his current cultivation, his brain would explode if he were to devour 100,000 soul stones. He estimated that these soul stones could at least support his cultivation to the true fire realm. As compared to the sect mission, he had already completed far more soul stones than the mission required. To be able to obtain so many soul stones, seems like Xia Ping will evolve faster than expected. Perhaps he will have the ability to search for the treasure left behind by the old master soon. Corinne's eyes flickered as if he was thinking about something. Oh my God! Lu Rulan was shocked too. Even as a native of the Blood Soul mainland, she had never seen so many soul stones. Even the combined wealth of 10 Lu families back then would not be this much. It was no wonder that Zhuo Hao, the leader of the Hall of Souls in Huining City, wanted to kill the Lu family. Who wouldn't be tempted by such a shocking amount of wealth? Slime. The golden slime was also very excited, because it sensed that the soul stone was also very beneficial to its evolution. Don't worry, you can eat some of them too. Xia Ping patted the golden slime's little head. He could not devour so many soul stones with him. Moreover, if the golden slime became stronger, it would benefit him greatly too. At this moment, the golden slime's doppelgangers had almost dug out the entire mineral vein and reached the end. Slime. Suddenly, the golden slime called out as if it was in trouble. Swoosh swoosh swoosh. Immediately, hundreds and thousands of slime doppelgangers returned to their original bodies. The golden slime sent a telepathic message to Xia Ping, informing him of what had happened to the slime doppelgangers. What? You said that there's a huge barrier at the end of the mineral vein and you can't break in. There might be a relic here? Xia Ping raised his eyebrows. He did not expect to dig out a relic barrier while digging out a mineral vein. He waved his hand and placed all the soul stones into his space ring. Then, he followed the golden slime deep into the mineral vein and reached the end quickly. Lu Rulan followed Xia Ping. There really is a barrier. When Xia Ping arrived at the end of the mineral vein, he immediately noticed a layer of black energy shrouding the surroundings. It was like a space barrier isolating all the surrounding objects. Chapter 1171. Saint Bloodsoul must have stayed here before. However, it was just a temporary residence for him. There doesn't seem to be any treasures here. Xia Ping felt very regretful. Aside from this painting, he did not seem to find any other powerful treasures. Originally, he wanted to obtain a saint artifact. That way, he would really be rich. Lu Rulan looked at the extraterritorial fiend in disdain. Obtaining that calligraphy piece was already considered a stroke of great luck. Yet, it wanted to obtain a saint's treasure? It was simply a dream. But when she thought about it carefully, that calligraphy piece seemed to be an incredible treasure. The thought of a treasure that belonged to the Blood Soul continent being snatched away by an extraterritorial fiend made her heart ache. Fortunately, there weren't many treasures here. Otherwise, the Blood Soul continent would have suffered great losses. Xia Ping, this space array formation has been figured out. You can go deep into the core and thoroughly refine it, and then you can master the entire space array formation. Corinne said. Xia Ping nodded his head. His divine sense seeped in and immediately found the core of the array formation. He then began to refine it. Because there was no master, it was very easy for him to refine the array formation. A moment later, a black talisman appeared in his hand. It was like a sphere, slowly rotating and emitting wisps of spatial aura. It was the core of the formation. He could feel that with this black talisman, he could control the entire formation at will. The defensive power of the formation increased by several times, and at the same time, he could teleport from any location at any time. It was very convenient. But what's the use of you controlling this array formation? You can't move it away. Moreover, there are no treasures in this place, and you won't stay here for too long. Corinne asked very doubtfully. He felt that refining this array formation was useless. I have a pretty good plan. Perhaps I can earn a large sum of soul stones or even kill 2 birds with 1 stone and sneak into Soul Palace's headquarters. Xia Ping rubbed his chin as a cunning glint flashed across his eyes. In reality, he had an idea when he found out that this place was once the residence of the Blood Soul Saint. What plan? For some reason, Corinne's body couldn't help but shiver. He always felt that this bastard has a belly full of evil water. This time, he doesn't know how many people will die. Do you have a way to make a photocopier? Xia Ping asked. Corinne nodded his head. This is not a problem. There are countless nano-maintenance robots in the space ring, as well as 3D printing machines. There are also enough materials. Making a photocopier is simply a piece of cake. It could be said that the space ring had become a small-scale factory for the sake of repairing the stars. It was extremely technologically advanced, and as long as the machine was not too complicated, it could be manufactured. That's good. Xia Ping was very satisfied. What do you want to do? Corinne asked again. He was very curious. Xia Ping did not continue speaking. He took out a pen and paper from his space ring and came to the study. He sat on a chair and began to write at great speed. Lu Rulan walked over and glanced at it curiously. It said, I, the Blood Soul Saint, am not dead yet. I'm just sealed by the enemy in a valley hundreds of miles away from Huaining City. I can't leave at the moment. If anyone can bring 100 soul stones to the sealed valley to save me, once I escape, I will definitely make you the Soul Palace Palace Master, and your power will overturn the world. Scoundrel, what are you trying to do? The corner of Lu Rulan's mouth twitched, and she looked at Xia Ping speechlessly. As you can see, I'm planning to trick a group of people to give me soul stones. I'll get them to throw them into this space formation, and then I'll reap the benefits and get rich overnight, Xia Ping said carelessly. You're crazy. Do you think the people of the Blood Soul mainland are so stupid that they'll be tricked by your dirty tricks? Don't look down on people. Lu Rulan was speechless. She didn't even know what to say. This extraterritorial fiend was simply audacious to the extreme. He actually dared to use the name of a sage to cause trouble, and even wanted to swindle 100 soul stones. He must have gone crazy thinking of soul stones. To be honest, when she read the words above, she felt that they were all fake and pitiful. How could such words possibly deceive anyone? Did the extraterritorial demons really think that the people of the Blood Soul continent had the intelligence of a 3-year-old? How could they be tricked by such obvious words, and even say that the Blood Soul Saint was not dead? What a joke! Don't worry about it. If some idiots come over, I'll be rich. Xia Ping ignored Lu Rulan's disdainful look and immediately ordered Corinne to make 1,000,000 copies of the paper. He wanted to spread the news across the entire Blood Soul mainland. Although the Blood Soul mainland was huge, there were only 108 super cities. Most of the other places were deserts, mountains, oceans, and so on. As for some of the more remote villages and small towns, they were probably so poor that they could not even fork out a single soul stone. Therefore, all he had to do was to target these super cities and attract all the cultivators of Divinity Realm from the big cities. Alright. Corinne also felt that the idea was unreliable, but since it was Xia Ping's order, he did not reject it. After all, he would know whether it was effective or not when the time came. An hour later, Xia Ping and Lu Rulan left the space formation, intending to head to Huaining City. To spread the news across the 108 cities of the Blood Soul mainland, they had to use the teleportation formation of the Hall of Souls in order to quickly head to other cities. Otherwise, God knew how long it would take to reach other cities given the size of the Blood Soul mainland. Xia Ping was not worried about not being able to use the teleportation formation of the Hall of Souls because he had the Hall of Souls token left behind by Zhuahao. With the token and the disguise mask, he could completely transform into Zhuahao and deceive the people of the Hall of Souls. What are you doing? Lu Rulan looked at Xia Ping and her mind was filled with question marks. This was because she saw that Xia Ping, the extraterritorial demon, was actually acting as a road marker in this valley. She did not know where this fellow had found a huge rock and written a few words on it, Blood Soul Saint Seal. Moreover, he had even made direction signs on the trees along the way from the valley to Huaining City. All of them pointed to the original Soul Stone vein, as if he was afraid that people would not be able to find the way. Of course I'm making a road sign. What if someone comes looking for me but can't find the valley? I'm serving the people, Xia Ping said carelessly. Bullshit. Lu Rulan looked at Xia Ping in disdain. How was he serving the people? He was clearly worried that people would not be able to find the valley and would not be able to scam the soul stones. Then again, which idiot would be fooled by such a lie? Not a single person would come. By then, everything the extraterrestrial devil did would be useless. Chapter 1172. Huaining City. This was a super city that could accommodate hundreds of millions of people. It was vast and had antique buildings, like an ancient city. Countless soul race members lived here. The center of Huaining City was not the city lord's mansion, but a soul palace. A huge building occupied the most central position and looked majestic. From this, one could see the importance of Soul Palace. Its power was above the city lord. At this moment, Xia Ping and Lu Rulan appeared in front of Huaining City's Soul Palace. I'm finally back. Lu Rulan was very emotional. Ever since she left Huaining City a few days ago, she never thought she would come back so soon. Moreover, she came back openly and the enemy was already dead. Now that she had changed her appearance, she did not have to worry about her real identity being discovered by acquaintances. As expected of an important place in this native continent, the security is really tight. Xia Ping narrowed his eyes. He could feel that this huge building had built a huge formation that covered an area. If an enemy dared to enter, they would definitely suffer an unimaginable blow. Even divine realm cultivators would die. Be careful, I sense that there seems to be an enemy following you in the surroundings. After entering Huaining City, the other party has been following behind us. Corinne warned. He had detected an unknown danger in the vicinity, which might be an enemy of divine power realm. However, he was very confused. Their previous actions were very secretive and there should not be any witnesses. Why were they being followed as soon as they came to Huaining City? Moreover, Xia Ping had already changed his appearance to Zhuahao, which was completely different from before. It's okay, I know who the enemy is. Xia Ping narrowed his eyes and looked at the corner of the street. There were a few sneaky figures. They thought that their whereabouts were very secretive, But they did not know that they were already exposed in the system. He also knew who was following him. They were the famous 7-kill gang. When the 7-kill gang showed killing intent towards him, it was already detected by the super aggro system. However, the 7-kill gang was very far away from him, so he temporarily ignored them. However, he didn't expect that these assassins were so capable that they could actually follow him. However, in Huining City, the great origin of the Soul Clan, the 7-kills gang would not dare to kill without confidence. After all, not only did they want to kill Xia Ping, but they also wanted to get out of here alive. They did not want to perish together. Mad Slaughter Saint, I didn't expect to offend such an enemy. But since I've taken Dark North Saint as my master, there must be a loss. Xia Ping's eyes flickered. But it's not a good thing to let the 7 Murders gang continue to follow us. It seems that I have to find a chance to eliminate these killers. Thinking of this, he and Lu Rulan walked into Huining City's Soul Palace. Lord Zhuhao. At this moment, the guards at the gate of Soul Palace immediately noticed Xia Ping's presence. They immediately greeted him in fear and trepidation because he was one of the most influential figures in Huining City. If they offended him, it would be a light punishment if their heads fell to the ground. It can't be. Lord Zhuhao has returned. That's great. We've been out for so many days. I thought something had gone wrong. That's strange. Why is there only Lord Zhuhao with a woman? Where are the other guards? A group of Soul Palace managers received the news and immediately came out to greet them. However, they quickly realized that aside from Zhuhao and Lu Rulan, there was no one else. They still have important matters to attend to. I ordered them to carry out a secret mission. Xia Ping stood with his hands behind his back, as if telling them not to ask too much. Otherwise, he would flip out on the spot. Everyone immediately shut up, not daring to ask any more questions. Yo, Zhuhao, you truly have quite the grandeur. You've become arrogant after becoming a Soul Palace branch palace master. Do you think that Soul Palace's power is your own? Using public tools for personal gain, do you know how great of a crime this is? I can report to Soul Palace's palace master at any moment to remove your black hat. Do you understand? A middle-aged man with a voice like a rooster's voice walked out. He had a pair of triangular eyes and a sinister and cunning expression. He looked at Xia Ping with resentment. Who do you think you are? Xia Ping glanced sideways at the middle-aged man. A middle-aged manager's face lost color and quickly said in a low voice, Lord Zhuhao, you can't do that. This is Elder Tanbo from Soul Palace's main palace. He's an imperial envoy. I heard he seemed to know you before. His expression was a bit strange. He felt that it was too strange that Zhuhao didn't know this Elder Tanbo. Lu Rulan's heart skipped a beat. Don't tell me their impersonation of Zhuhao was exposed? How would I know such a small character? Don't joke around. Xia Ping stood with his hands behind his back. He looked at Tanbo with even more disdain. He didn't look guilty at all, instead confidently saying he didn't know this person. Zhuhao, small character? Who the hell is a small character? You really have the guts to say such things. I haven't seen you for a while, and you've become so arrogant. Hearing this, Tanbo's nose almost went crooked from anger. He felt like smoke was coming out of his 7 orifices. He wanted to rush up and beat Xia Ping up. He thought that Zhuhao had said those words on purpose to pick a fight with him. He was mocking him in front of so many people, saying that he, Tanbo, was just a small character that people couldn't remember. He and Zhuhao had a grudge before, and their relationship wasn't good. They almost fought when they met. He didn't expect it to be even more ridiculous this time. Zhuhao even said that he didn't know him. How preposterous. The people around them broke out in cold sweat. It was really a fight between immortals, and it was the little devil who suffered. However, they also realized that it wasn't that Zhuhao didn't know Tanbo, but that he was being sarcastic. Although they had heard that Zhuhao and Tanbo didn't have a good relationship, they didn't expect it to be this bad. Lu Rulan, on the other hand, was frightened out of her wits. These extraterritorial fiends were really daring to say something like that. If anyone were to find out about their true identities, they might not even know how they died. How could this idiot be so daring? It's none of your business. If there's nothing else, get lost. I've been out for a long time, and I'm tired. I want to rest, and I don't have the energy to talk nonsense with you. Xia Ping waved his hand and ordered his guest to leave. Rest? Rest my ass. I think you want to come back and flirt with women. Tan Bo's gloomy eyes fell on Lu Rulon. Looking at her perfect face, curvaceous body, and holy aura like a saintess, he was extremely jealous. Such a beautiful woman actually fell into Zhuao's hands. The heavens really didn't have eyes. This bastard's life in Huaining City was truly comfortable. There were many benefits, and it was many times better than staying in Soul Palace's main palace as a monk. In reality, although he was a Soul Palace main palace elder, and his position was slightly higher than Zhuao's, in terms of actual power and enjoyment, he was still lacking. Chapter 1173. What are you arguing about? At this moment, a voice rang out. 2 or 3 people walked over from the distance. One of them was a young man wearing a gorgeous robe and exuding an aura of nobility. One look and it was obvious that his identity was unspeakably noble. Beside this young man were 2 old men with imposing auras. As they walked over, they were like mountains. Shockingly, they were early-stage divine realm cultivators, not any weaker than Tan Bo. Seeing these 3, Tan Bo jumped in fright and hurriedly cupped his hands. Young Master Chong, why are you here? Sorry for not going out to meet you. Sorry for not going out to meet you. He immediately recognized that this man was no ordinary person. He was the 3rd son of Soul Palace's lord, Chang Chi. The 2 beside him were Chang Chi's left and right arms. They were also Soul Palace elders with high positions. After all, among the many Soul Palace elders, different people had completely different statuses. There were different ranks and ranks. Not to mention, this was the Soul Palace Lord's son, equivalent to a country's prince. He didn't dare to be arrogant in front of him. I came out for a walk this time to find the culprit who killed my big brother Chang Feng. I think he's called Master Potato. Chang Chi was murderous. That culprit was very arrogant. After killing my big brother, he still dared to leave his name, angering my father. He swore to catch the culprit and tear him to pieces. By the way, did you find anything? Do you know anything about the wind blowing the grass? He looked at Tan Bo. No, I just arrived at Huaining City and don't have any clues. In reality, Tan Bo had come to Huaining City to investigate this matter. Now that Soul Palace Lord Chang Shishing had given the order, the entire Blood Soul continent was shaken. Even elders like them were sent to various places to search for the culprit. Whatever, I can tell you don't know anything just by looking at you. Chang Chi did not mind. Soon, his attention was focused on Xia Ping and Lu Rulon. His eyes lit up when he saw Lu Rulon. Although Lu Rulon had disguised her beautiful face, her unique aura, figure, and charm were enough to move a man. She exuded an unusual charm that made people want to have sex with her. Zhuao, who is this lady? Chang Chi asked, his tone arrogant and commanding as he questioned Xia Ping, as if he were a superior interrogating his subordinate. My woman, Xia Ping said plainly as he hugged Lu Rulon's slender waist. Her voluptuous figure was pressed tightly against his body. Lu Rulon's pretty face instantly turned red, but she did not struggle at all. It was as if her entire body had softened into his. Not bad. Send it to my room later. I'll put in a good word for you to my father, Chang Chi said matter-of-factly. He wanted to ask Xia Ping for Lu Rulon. To him, this was an extremely ordinary and small matter. As the son of the Hall of Souls Hall Master, his status was extremely noble, like that of a prince. Thus, heading to the various large cities of the Blood Soul continent was equivalent to lowering himself to pay a private visit. Every time he arrived at a large city, those large families or Soul Palace branch palace cadres would come up to curry favor with him. As long as he liked something, they would give it to him. In fact, as long as he took a fancy to something, he would immediately give it to him without any hesitation. Even if he had to send his wife or daughter to serve him, he wouldn't hesitate. As long as they could win his favor, they would immediately obtain great benefits. In reality, his father, Chang Shishing, was the same. As the Soul Palace Master, he often visited incognito and left behind countless illegitimate children in the Blood Soul continent. Hearing this, Lu Rulan's expression turned ugly. She knew that in the Blood Soul continent, men were superior to women. In a feudal society, women basically did not have much status. This was especially true for some important figures. If they took a fancy to a beautiful woman, they could even rob her on the street. Whoever dared to resist would be beaten to death on the spot. Send it to your room? Xia Ping looked at Chang Chi as if he was looking at an idiot. Who do you think you are? Have you ever weighed yourself before? Do you think you're so great just because you're the son of the Soul Palace Master? Usually, I don't bicker with you because I'm giving face to your father. Do you really think you're so great? Do you believe that I won't break all 3 of your legs on the spot and let you walk out of here horizontally today? What? Not only Tan Bo, but even the Huaining City Branch Palace's officers were stunned. They never expected Zhua Hao to say such words. Facing the Soul Palace's Palace Master's son, he was boasting shamelessly and rebuking him without giving him any face. Was this guy not afraid of the Soul Palace Master Chang Shishing's wrath? Tan Bo was dumbfounded. Although he knew Zhua Hao was a bit different from before, he did not expect him to be this arrogant. He even dared to offend the Palace Master's son. Zhua Hao, how dare you speak to young Master Chang in such a manner? Do you know who you are? An old man roared and glared at Xia Ping. He was unable to restrain his anger. Chang Chi's face was very black, like coal. He was full of anger. He had come out incognito for a long time, but this was the first time he met a Soul Palace sub-palace master who didn't give him any face. This was clearly a slap to his face. He only wanted him to ask for a woman, yet he was so arrogant. How preposterous. Xia Ping sneered. This brat is only the Soul Palace Master's son. Who knows how many sons the Palace Master has? Who does Chang Chi think he is to be so arrogant in front of me? Get the hell out of Soul Palace sub-palace. Otherwise, don't blame me for being impolite. He ordered them to leave. Tan Bo and the others were scared silly. Although they also knew these facts, such words could not be said at all. This was treason. It was simply a slap in the face. There was no room for negotiation. Bastard. Chang Chi completely flipped out. He was so angry that his lungs almost exploded. Zhua Hao, you bastard. You're just taking advantage of your seniority. If a tiger doesn't show its might, you'll really think I'm a sick cat. You dare tell me to get the hell out? Go, immediately take this old thing down and cripple him. If anything happens, I, Chang Chi, will take responsibility. I'll let him know what it means when a gentleman gets angry, blood splashes 3 feet. After being a dog for so long, he still dares to betray his master. How dare he rebel against the heavens? Xia Ping's words hit the sore spot in his heart. He was fuming with anger. Yes, he really wasn't the Palace Master's only son. He didn't even have much hope of becoming the next Palace Master. Moreover, among his many sons, he was the most depressed. However, no matter what, he was still the Soul Palace Master's son. He was still a prince. How could he tolerate someone rubbing his nose in his face? This was like stepping on the head of a god. He immediately ordered the 2 Soul Palace elders to attack Xia Ping and completely cripple him. Yes, young Chang. Chapter 1174. Oh no! Hearing this, Huaining City's many subordinates' expressions changed. They didn't expect Chang Chi to give such an order, and even 2 Soul Palace elders to take action. If Zhua Hao was really beaten up and captured, this matter would probably get out of hand. However, in front of Soul Palace elders, they couldn't fight back at all. The difference was too big, too big. Serves you right for being unlucky. In contrast to the Huaining City subordinates' worries, Tan Bo was secretly delighted while secretly despising Xia Ping. If he hadn't been too arrogant, he wouldn't have ended up like this. He thought this guy was dead for sure. Though they were all Divine Ability Realm initial stage cultivators, it didn't mean their strengths were the same. As Soul Palace elders, they were proficient in Soul Palace's many mental secret techniques. The fighting strength they could display wasn't something a mere sub-palace lord could compare to. Moreover, there were 2 of them. With numbers on their side, this guy's only fate was to be defeated and lose all his martial arts, unable to act like a tyrant again. If you always walk by the river, you'll get your shoes wet. It's finally your turn. Tanbo was proud. He had been at odds with Zhuo Hao for a long time. Seeing his old rival finally fall, he was extremely happy. Later on, he would trample on this brat a few times as a way to vent the resentment he had accumulated for so many years. Golden Bell Vibration Technique. In an instant, the two Soul Palace elders attacked at the same time, using the Soul Race's secret mental technique. Immediately, a golden bell seemed to appear in the void, shining with endless golden light. This was an illusion created by the power of divine sense. No way, this is one of the Soul Race's supreme mental secret techniques, Golden Bell Vibration Technique. Many Huaining City subordinates were shocked. They had heard of this shocking mental secret technique before. It could transform into a golden bell and emit the power of a mental shock. Once the golden bell was rung, the destructive power of a mental shock would erupt. It was several times more terrifying than other mental attacks. Even defensive treasures wouldn't help. Their brains would be instantly destroyed as if they were struck by lightning. This secret technique had once made great contributions in the battle against the Outer Realm fiends. A single ring of the golden bell meant the death of tens of thousands of people. It was unstoppable and invincible. Clank, 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 clank. Immediately, the golden bell vibrating spell broke out. A golden bell rang in the void, giving off a crisp sound. Terrifying spiritual waves spread out from the two elders. In the depths of the void, a series of condensed ripples suddenly appeared. Like waves, they attacked Xia Ping and covered an area. The entire earth seemed to be trembling, and cracks appeared on the ground. Run, run quickly. Tanbo and the others' expressions changed drastically. They also felt a fatal threat because this mental attack was an indiscriminate attack. If they were to stay nearby, they would also be attacked and die without a burial place. They quickly fled in all directions, afraid that if they stayed here for even half a second, they would be instantly killed. The power of two early-stage divine-tier cultivators was not to be trifled with. Cultivators who had not reached divine tier would basically die if they were hit by such a mental attack. Even if it was a cultivator of the same level, without a sufficiently strong soul, they would still be shaken into an idiot on the spot. Without even looking, Xia Ping took a step forward and bellowed, executing the 8 notes of the heavenly dragon. Immediately, a heavenly dragon seemed to vaguely appear in the void, roaring at the sky. It contained supreme dragon might and was earth-shattering. It seemed that half of Huaining City could hear this loud roar. Some people even saw a heavenly dragon appear in the sky above Huaining City, hidden in the clouds and looking down from above. The supreme pressure descended, extremely terrifying. In an instant, the golden bell was smashed into pieces as soon as it came into contact with the dragon might. It seemed to be crushed back, and the power exploded inch by inch, creating huge pits in the ground. Impossible! The two elders of the Hall of Soul were shocked. They could not believe their eyes. They had clearly executed the golden bell vibrating spell, one of the supreme secret techniques of the soul race. It should be able to kill everything in an instant. Moreover, the two of them had joined forces to deal with one person. However, it was broken by Zhuo Hao's roar. The entire golden bell was shattered into pieces, and the terrifying mental pressure even descended on their bodies, causing them to suffer a backlash. Immediately, the two elders let out shrill screams. Blood flowed out of their orifices, and their entire bodies were blown away. They flew hundreds of meters away, creating a deep crack on the ground, and finally smashed into the wall. They could not help but spit out a mouthful of blood. Their lungs were severely injured, and they were on the verge of death. Even their souls were greatly injured. If they were not divine realm cultivators with powerful souls, they would probably have been shattered by the roar just now. Overestimating yourselves? Xia Ping looked down at the two elders on the ground indifferently. His body emitted endless majesty, as if there was a heavenly dragon resting in the depths of his body. Too powerful? Many cadres of Huaining City were shocked. They felt the irresistible pressure, as if they were facing a natural enemy. This was a super creature that was fundamentally different from them. It was sacred, ancient, and great. They had worked with Zhuhao for a long time, but now they felt extremely unfamiliar. This power made them feel extremely humble, and they wanted to crawl on the ground. How can he be this powerful? Tanbo's face turned green. He was extremely jealous and shocked. He thought that even if his power was a bit weaker than Zhuhao, it was not by much. Moreover, he had entered the main palace of Soul Palace to further his studies, learning many mental secret techniques and grasping powerful offensive techniques. He should have surpassed Zhuhao. However, looking at it now, he was far inferior to this guy. The difference was even greater. This guy's power was simply unfathomable. Just what had he experienced in these years? Also, where did he get this mental secret technique? How come he had never seen it before? Chang-Chi fell to the ground in fear, paralyzed. His two biggest helpers had been crippled in one move. Now no one could protect him. His face was ashen as he looked at Xia Ping in fear. Don't come over. I'm the son of Soul Palace's palace master. I'm the son of Soul Palace's palace master. Do you understand? Chang-Chi roared in an attempt to scare Xia Ping. Noisy! Chapter 1175. You piece of trash, without your father, what can you do? You dare to be arrogant in front of me with this kind of ability? Have you considered your own abilities? Xia Ping stared down at Chang-Chi from above. Just like that, he stared at him. Chang-Chi's nostrils flared with anger. He couldn't speak. Being slapped by Xia Ping was painful to the core. It was as if every cell in his body was being bitten by ants. As the son of Soul Palace's palace master, he had been pampered since he was young. He had never experienced such pain before, let alone being slapped away and losing 2 or 3 teeth. This was a great humiliation. You don't accept it? You dare look at me? I'll cripple your 3rd leg and turn you into a eunuch. Let's see if you still accept it and if you can still be a palace master. Xia Ping narrowed his eyes. He suddenly lifted his leg and kicked Chang-Chi's crotch. It was as if an elephant was trampling on him. No. Chang-Chi let out a shrill scream like a castrated pig. His eyes almost popped out. As a man's most important part, if it was crippled, he would rather die. Even if he became a Soul Palace master in the future, it would be meaningless. Facing the harem of 3,000 beauties, he could only watch and not touch them. This was the greatest torture in the world. Moreover, if he became a eunuch, he could not become a palace master. No one would be willing to lower themselves to a eunuch. This was related to Soul Palace's face. This was practically destroying his life. Xia Ping's foot landed on the ground, instantly creating a hole. Rocks flew everywhere. This foot didn't hit Chang-Chi's important part, but was slightly off. After all, he still had to play the role of Huaining City's palace master perfectly. If he really crippled Chang-Chi, it would probably anger the Soul Palace's palace master and cause trouble for his next mission. So, he was just scaring Chang-Chi. Did he faint? Xia Ping raised his eyebrows. He felt like this scare was too effective. Chang-Chi had completely fainted. His eyelids were white, and his body was twitching. He was foaming at the mouth, like a dead fish floating out of the water. That kick would probably cast a shadow on him for the rest of his life. Take these pieces of trash away for treatment. Don't stay here and be an eyesore. Xia Ping waved his hand and ordered the shocked Soul Palace cadres. Yes, Palace Master. At this moment, the cadres seemed to wake up from a dream. They quickly went up and took the 2 heavily injured Soul Palace elders as well as the fainted Chang-Chi away for treatment. If these 3 important people died here, no one present would be able to escape. They would definitely face the fury of the Soul Palace's palace master, and no one knew what would happen afterwards. Zhuhao, you're crazy. Do you know the consequences of this? How dare you hit the temple master's son? Tanbo looked at Xia Ping as if he was looking at a lunatic. What are the consequences? Could it be that he dares to remove me from my position? Xia Ping said lightly. Tanbo was speechless. Being able to become a city's sub-palace master was equivalent to a feudal lord. Even though Soul Palace's main palace master had immense authority, he couldn't remove his position for no reason. The problem was, even if he couldn't remove his position, he could still scheme in secret. As long as he was still on Blood Soul Continent, he couldn't hide from Palace Master's influence. The problem was, even if he couldn't remove his position for the time being, he could still plot against him secretly. As long as he was still on the Blood Soul Continent, he wouldn't be able to escape the influence of the Hall Master. However, Tan Bo didn't know that Zhuo Hao wasn't the real person right now, but a warrior from another region. He wasn't worried about Palace Master's revenge. As long as he finished his plan, he could leave immediately. However, Tan Bo did not know that Zhuo Hao was not the real Zhuo Hao, but a cultivator from the outer realm. He was not worried about the Hall Master's revenge. As long as he completed his plan, he could leave immediately. Of course, if things developed beyond imagination, leaving Blood Soul Continent wasn't a problem. So, he didn't have to worry about Palace Master's revenge. Also, don't all nobles have guts? If he can become Soul Palace Master, why can't I? Xia Ping squinted his eyes. What? Hearing this, Tan Bo was shocked. He didn't expect Zhuo Hao to have such a shocking idea. He wanted to become Soul Palace Master. How ambitious! One had to know that the entire Blood Soul Continent was filled with experts, and the number of people who wanted to become the Hall Master of the Hall of Souls was as small as the number of carps in the river. The difficulty of becoming the Hall Master of the Hall of Souls was as difficult as ascending to the heavens. Could it be that he had some fortuitous encounter recently that made him so confident? For a moment, Tan Bo's eyes flickered. He didn't know why Zhuo Hao would suddenly act like this. He felt very strange, as if he had become unfathomable. However, Xia Ping ignored Tan Bo and left with Lu Rulon. At that moment, in a street corner outside of Huaining City's palace. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. 7 figures appeared here. They were dressed inconspicuously and looked at the huge building with vicious eyes. They were the 7 Kills gang that had come to kill Xia Ping. Strange, he actually changed his appearance and snuck into this Soul Palace's branch palace. How audacious! Could it be that he isn't afraid of being discovered by Soul Palace's people and dying? Big Brother Fong Di's expression was very grave. Originally, he wanted to attack Xia Ping when he found traces of him in Huaining City. He didn't expect Xia Ping to not stop and not give them a chance to attack. He went straight to the Soul Palace. This way, they were a little cautious because if they attacked here, they would definitely be discovered by Soul Race experts. At that time, they would definitely fall into chaos. It would be fine if they could kill him in one hit. The worst-case scenario was that they failed and were surrounded by Soul Race experts. They would be surrounded and chased. That would be a joke. As slightly famous assassins in the universe, they didn't want to attack without absolute confidence. This would alert the enemy and make them cautious. It wouldn't be so easy to attack next time. Of course, they didn't expect that they had already been exposed. It really is strange. You have to know that Soul Race's palace has many restrictive arrays that can detect the power of Soul Race and Universe Warriors. If an unfamiliar power sneaks in, it will definitely trigger an alarm. At that time, even if you want to escape, you won't be able to. Although I'm confident in infiltrating any secret place, I don't dare to enter Soul Palace. 7th Brother Kong Nua said in a low voice. As an assassination expert, he had assassinated presidents of small countries and killed his way into heavily guarded forbidden areas. He had rich experience in assassination. However, he was still very convinced of Soul Palace's guards. After all, the mental power scanning method was always successful. His assassin's aura and Universe Warrior's aura couldn't be hidden at all. In the past, some Universe assassins had tried to infiltrate Soul Palace, but they were all killed by Soul Palace people. Without exception, there were precedents. Chapter 1176. I'm not sure what this guy did. 2nd Brother Mao Bu's eyes flickered. However, this kid is a sage's disciple. Perhaps his master gave him some special treasure that can hide his true identity. That's not strange. He attributed this matter to Xia Ping's master, Dark North Saint. Damn it, what a lucky guy. Having an awesome master really makes a difference. It's not just different. It's like reaching the heavens in a single step. No matter where he goes, there are many benefits. It's incomparable. The group was filled with envy and jealousy, But what do we do now? He entered Soul Palace and we can't break in. Can we only watch from here? Someone asked in a low voice. Why don't we expose his true identity and say he's actually an outer realm devil? What do you guys think? Idiot. We haven't even said his true identity and will be exposed. Do you want to die with him? Most importantly, even if we tell him his identity, no one will believe us. That's true. Though we don't know what he did, since he dared to enter Soul Palace, he must have made preparations. We can't just say a few words to expose him. Let's wait. We can only wait for him to come out. He can't know that we're trying to assassinate him. He's never exposed himself, so he won't have any vigilance. That's right. Don't be impatient. Wait for the opportunity to assassinate him. As long as he hasn't left Blood Soul Continent, we will have opportunities to assassinate him. There will always be a time when we relax. 7 Kill Gang nodded. As excellent killers, they were equivalent to excellent hunters. They had ample patience when it came to capturing prey. In order to assassinate a business tycoon, they hid in his house for half a year, eating grass and drinking water every day before finally killing him. Therefore, waiting wasn't a big problem for them. That night, in a villa in Huining City. At this moment, Chang-Chi and the 2 Soul Palace elders beside him woke up. However, they were tied up like mummies and couldn't move at all. After a simple treatment from a doctor and large amounts of precious medicine, they barely recovered some strength. However, if they wanted to get out of bed and walk, they would need at least half a month of rest. Zhuahao, that damn Zhuahao, that bastard Zhuahao. As soon as Chang-Chi woke up, he let out a thunderous roar. I can't forgive him. I absolutely can't forgive him. I'm going to report this to my father. Send an army to the border and kill him. I'm going to slaughter his entire clan. He was so angry that he even had the heart to chop Xia Ping into pieces. As the Soul Palace's palace master's son, he had lived an extravagant life since he was young and was doted on. When had he ever been beaten to such a state? Furthermore, he had been scared unconscious. This was simply a great humiliation. Especially when he recalled the previous scene, he simply shuddered. If Xia Ping had made a slight mistake, the rest of his happiness would have been gone. Thinking about how he was only one step away from becoming a eunuch, his hatred for Xia Ping increased. His whole body was trembling. If Xia Ping appeared here, he would pounce on him and tear him into pieces. Young Chang, calm down. You have to calm down. Not only do you want to kill him, but we also want to kill him immediately. A Soul Palace elder advised. How am I supposed to calm down? How am I supposed to calm down? Chang-Chi flew into a rage. That bastard almost crippled me. Just a little bit more. If that bastard wasn't careful, I would have become a eunuch in Blood Soul Continent. I wouldn't even be able to sleep with a woman. Don't you think that bastard deserves to die? You want me to fucking calm down? How am I supposed to calm down? He was absolutely furious. He had never been this angry before. Young Chang, think about it carefully. Why is that fellow so arrogant? He doesn't even put the palace master in his eyes. As the palace master of a small Soul Palace branch palace, don't you think this is very unusual? Could it be that he's just sticking his head out with an enormous faction behind him? His goal is to use this to scheme against the palace master. A Soul Palace elder said in a low voice. He was very suspicious that Xia Ping had other goals. No matter how he looked at it, teaching the palace master's son a high-profile lesson without any regard for the consequences was extremely strange. Being able to become a Soul Palace branch palace master wasn't easy to deal with. Everything he did was done after careful consideration. It definitely wasn't as simple as it seemed. At this moment, Chang-Chi calmed down. His entire body shivered. Thinking that this fellow's goal wasn't to deal with him, but rather his father standing behind him, he immediately shivered. If his father was no longer the Soul Palace palace master and immediately fell from power, would he still be able to act like this? At that time, the number of people who wanted to kill him would probably line up from the east to the west of the city. Therefore, all of his anger disappeared, and he became incomparably gloomy. No matter how he was in this kind of family, he was very obedient. He wasn't a simple hedonistic son. Elder Pan, What do you say about this? Chang-Chi asked in a low voice. Seeing Chang-Chi calm down, the Soul Palace elder was very satisfied and said, I suspect that there are two possibilities for this Zhuhao to be so arrogant. One is that he's truly an idiot who doesn't care about the consequences. However, I feel that the possibility of this isn't high. After all, being able to become a Soul Palace Branch Palace master doesn't have a simple mind. The second possibility is that he hooked up with another faction in Soul Palace, one that opposes the Palace Master. In order to pay his allegiance to that faction, he beat young Master Chang. It's even possible that this operation was a test to lure the snake out of its hole and see how much strength the Palace Master has around him. No matter what, I believe that this operation was clearly targeted at the Palace Master. Pulling one hair will affect the whole situation. Young Master Chang's matter is no small matter. We must be careful. Otherwise, we may very well be consigned to eternal damnation. Since ancient times, political struggles were always the cruelest. It was easy to exterminate entire clans and families. Then what should I do? Hearing the Soul Palace elder say this, Chang-Chi became a bit afraid. Bide our time. The Soul Palace elder said in a low voice. In short, we need to find out who this fellow has behind him and what he wants to do. Once we figure out his background, it won't be too late to make a countermeasure. For a gentleman to take revenge, 10 years is not too late. Once we figure out his background, he's dead for sure. No one will be able to save him. His killing intent soared. Clearly, he was angered by Xia Ping's actions this time. The two sides now had a death grudge. Chapter 1177. 3 days later. Xia Ping didn't act rashly in the beginning after entering Huaining City's branch palace. Instead, he took this opportunity to learn about the big and small affairs of Huaining City's Soul Palace, as well as various taboos. This was because Xia Ping had gone crazy and beaten up Chang-Chi, shocking everyone. Moreover, after beating up Chang-Chi hadn't taken any action to retaliate. This was even more shocking. Therefore, his authority as a hall master reached an unprecedented height. No one dared to question him. Regarding these questions, they only thought that Xia Ping was trying to knock them down a peg. Therefore, no matter what Xia Ping asked, they would answer without hiding anything. You may begin. After understanding the situation, Xia Ping took the teleportation formation in Huaining City and used his authority as the hall master to head to other super cities to distribute the flyers. He didn't need to do it himself. He gave the golden slime an order, and then it split into thousands of pieces. They carried the leaflets and entered the streets and alleys of the city in the darkness, letting countless people know of this news. As the golden slimes were extremely fast and could change their form and color, they could be in a state of invisibility. No one knew who spread the news. The next morning, almost everyone on the streets and alleys knew the news. Have you heard? Actually, Blood Soul Saint isn't dead yet. He's just sealed up. Now, we only need 100 soul stones to free him. When that time comes, we'll be rich and can become Soul Palace Lord. Someone shouted with the leaflet in his hand. Bullshit. I don't even know where you got this news from. How can you believe such words? Do you really think I'm stupid? That's right. Even if Saint Blood Soul didn't die, why would he use such a stupid method to escape? Do you really think saints are something? Saint Blood Soul was able to break free with just 100 soul stones. Saint Blood Soul's seal really isn't worth that much. This must be some mischievous young master of some aristocratic family spreading this kind of third-rate news. Those who believe in such things are called fools. Even if you want to deceive people, you should at least be a little more skilled at deceit. You can't just tell a lie that can be easily seen through. This is really the biggest joke of the year. Many people in the city knew about this news, but most of them scoffed at it. They didn't believe any of the words on the flyer and treated it as a joke. Putting aside whether the Blood Soul Saint was truly dead or not, just the fact that he was still alive and was sealed in some valley meant that he could be freed with just 100 soul stones? Was this a joke? Just how powerful was the power that sealed the Blood Soul Saint? How could a mere 100 soul stones be enough to break the seal? But time passed day by day. 10 days. 20 days. Finally, a month had passed. Not only this city, but 108 super cities across the entire Blood Soul continent were spreading the news that the Blood Soul Saint was sealed in a valley near Huining City. As the saying goes, 3 people make a tiger. Sometimes, when rumors are spread too much, they will become true. What's going on? This rumor is spreading like wildfire. It seems like the entire Blood Soul continent knows about it. Could it be that the Blood Soul Saint is not dead, but has been sealed away? That's impossible. Even if the Blood Soul Saint is not dead and is sealed away, how could the location of his seal be leaked so easily? The problem is, the news is spreading like wildfire, as if it is true. We have no choice but to believe it. It's not groundless. Indeed. Let's look at it from a different angle. At first glance, it might seem like a joke, but what if it's true? If it's true, we'll be rich. We'll be able to save Saint Blood Soul with just 100 soul stones. By then, we will be the benefactors of the Blood Soul Saint. Wouldn't we be able to ascend to the heavens in one step? The leader of the Hall of Souls would be nothing. Yeah, anyway, the flyer said the location of the Blood Soul Saint seal. Can't we just go check it out? If we go there and find out that it's fake, we won't be at a disadvantage when we come back. If it is true, we will be rich. Even if a portion of people did not believe it, a few people out of 10,000 believed it. That was enough. They were hoping for a fluke. What if it was true? Moreover, they were only going to check the location of the seal. If it was fake, they would not hand over the soul stones. No matter how they looked at it, they would not be at a disadvantage. Therefore, a small portion of people decided to check the valley near Huining City to see if the information on the flyer was true. Even if this portion of people was extremely small in the population of the Blood Soul continent, less than 1 in 100,000, it was not a small portion when the population exceeded tens of trillions. The news had undoubtedly spread to the Hall of Souls and was immediately known by the higher-ups of the Hall of Souls. What is going on? Why is this rumor spreading like wildfire? It's also said that the Blood Soul Saint is not dead and is sealed in the valley. Who did it? Did they find the culprit who spread the rumor? The palace master of the Hall of Souls, Chang Shishing, was very angry. He was already very annoyed to find the culprit who killed his son. Now that such a big thing had happened, he even wanted to kill someone. I'm sorry, Sir Palace Master. We spent all our efforts to find the culprit. We only know that the news spread overnight. However, we have no idea where the rumor originated from. The group of subordinates was extremely ashamed. As the largest force in the Blood Soul continent, they had the responsibility to monitor the world. However, they could not find the source of the rumor. This was a considerable degree of negligence. Even if they were fired on the spot by the palace master, they could not do anything. However, the opponent was too mysterious. No one knew when the flyer that spread the rumor appeared or where it came from. Everyone only remembered that a strong wind blew and the flyer appeared. They did not even see the shadow of the person. Trash, all a bunch of trash. Chang Shishing was furious. Sir Palace Master, in fact, we don't need to worry. An elder said in a deep voice, no matter what the culprit is thinking, his goal is probably to lead us to the valley near Huining City. Why don't we beat them at their own game and follow the intentions of the mastermind? Let's go and investigate and see what exactly that mysterious force is up to. Moreover, the death of the palace master's son seems to be near Huining City. Is there any unknown secret in it? I think we can carefully explore it. What? The eyes of the palace master of the Hall of Souls, Chang Shishing, revealed a trace of coldness. You're right. Immediately send someone to check that valley. I want to see who dares to cause such trouble. Chapter 1178. At this moment, near Huining City, many people were attracted by the news that the Blood Soul Saint was still alive. Some of them believed the rumor, some of them wanted to investigate the force behind the rumor, and some of them wanted to watch a good show. Many people showed up. Although we came to Huining City according to the information, the problem is that the vicinity of Huining City is very large. There are mountains that stretch for thousands of miles, dense forests, and countless valleys. How can we find the place where the Blood Soul Saint is sealed? Someone said in a deep voice. He felt confused and had no clue at all. This was also the thought of many people who arrived at Huining City. The information on the leaflet was too brief. There was no accurate address, so they did not know where to start. There's no other way. This is the place where the Blood Soul Saint is sealed. It's normal to be secretive. It won't be easy to find it. It seems that we'll need a long time to find it. Indeed, since we're all here, of course we're prepared for a long time. Take your time to find it. At least we have a rough location now. Some people thought it was natural. If the place where the Blood Soul Saint was sealed was something that could be found easily, the Blood Soul Saint would have been found long ago. Why would it wait until now? They were all mentally prepared. It would probably take several months. No, there's no need to look. I have a rough idea of where the Blood Soul Saint is, someone suddenly said, showing a mysterious look. Impossible. How did you find it? Yes, have you been to this place before? So many people didn't find it. You're the only one who found it. Don't brag here. A group of people looked at this person with disdain. They felt that this guy was lying. I'm not bragging. Look here. The person pointed to a big tree in front of them. What? Everyone looked in the direction that the person pointed and saw a wooden sign hanging on the big tree. There was a road sign on it, pointing to the east. There were also a few big words written on it, Blood Soul Saint Valley. What the hell? When did the place where the Blood Soul Saint was sealed have a road sign? This is too fucking considerate. Are they afraid that we'll get lost and can't find where the Blood Soul Saint is sealed? Son of a bitch. I've never seen such an accurate road sign before. It's even guiding us to the place where Saint Blood Soul is sealed. Who did this? Who did this? That's too considerate. Everyone was dumbfounded. No matter how imaginative they were, they would never have thought that something like this would happen. The place where the Blood Soul Saint was sealed should be a top secret, yet someone had actually made a road sign to guide them forward. The more they thought about it, the more they felt like they had fallen into some kind of scam. It was as if there was someone so bad that he was leading them into a trap. But if it was really a scam, it was too blatant and too stupid. Wasn't the swindler worried that his scam would be exposed by others? Because this method of deception was too idiotic, they were a little skeptical and felt that things were not so simple. Perhaps it was extraordinary. Since there are signs, let's go and take a look. Everyone looked at each other. Since they had come all the way here, they couldn't just go back now. At the very least, he had to take a look at what the so-called sealed place looked like. Several hours later, they turned left and right in the vast and complicated forest. Under the guidance of accurate road signs, they finally arrived at the mysterious valley. At that moment, everyone was secretly glad that there were signs to guide them. Otherwise, they didn't know how long it would have taken them to find this extremely remote place. Clearly, there was also a huge rock in the valley. There were also a few words written on it, Sealed Place of Saint Blood Soul. Holy shit, the person who sealed the place was afraid that others wouldn't know that the Blood Soul Saint was sealed here. He had even written a few words here to indicate that this was where the Blood Soul Saint was. Everyone who came here felt like they were idiots. To think that they would be tricked by such idiotic rumors. They had even traveled thousands of miles to come to this desolate place where even birds wouldn't shit. Everyone, since we're here, why don't we go and take a look? That's right. We can't just go back after coming here. Let's go and take a look. Just who is it that told such a big lie? Everyone was filled with anger. At the very least, they wanted to see just which bastard dared to trick them and set up such a scam, causing the entire Blood Soul continent to be thrown into chaos. Some of the Hall of Soul's secret agents revealed a cold glint in their eyes. Once they catch the person, they will definitely teach that bastard a lesson and let him know the true meaning of the Hall of Soul's iron fist. So. Without saying anything, they immediately entered the cave. They kept going deeper and deeper until they finally reached the deepest part of the cave. However, when they entered the deepest part of the cave, they were all dumbfounded. They discovered that there was a huge barrier formation at the deepest part of the cave. It was transparent and covered the surroundings like an egg. Barrier, this is a barrier formation. Heavens! There really is a sealing barrier around this place. This is no joke. But this might not be the place where the Blood Soul Saint was sealed. Even if it's not the place where the Blood Soul Saint was sealed, it is definitely an extremely important remnant. It's a barrier formation left behind from the ancient era. There might be some shocking treasures inside. Ancient remnant. I didn't expect us to discover a remnant. This is too shocking. Everyone was shocked. They had yet to recover from their anger when they were shocked by the scene in front of them. All of them were overjoyed and excited. It was as if a huge pie had fallen from the sky and smashed into their heads. In the Blood Soul continent, many ancient remnants had appeared over the years. These remnants always hid countless treasures. Many legendary figures had obtained the treasures left behind by the remnants and soared to the sky. Many of them even became hall masters of the Hall of Soul and became extremely powerful. Such stories had long spread throughout the Blood Soul continent and were known by countless people. They naturally knew what the appearance of a remnant represented. It represented wealth, authority, strength, and even lifespan. However, they had discovered a completely new remnant space that had yet to be excavated. If this wasn't a pie, then what was? Furthermore, this spirit formation space was related to the Blood Soul Saint. It was simply a massive treasure trove. Chapter 1179. Let's go in and see what treasures there are inside. That's right. Let's hurry up and break the barrier. Everyone's eyes were burning with passion. Some of the more impatient ones immediately took action, unleashing all of their powers and bombarding the barrier. Bang, bang, bang. Waves of terrifying power attacked the barrier. It was as if they were being bombarded by thousands of nuclear bombs. However, it was useless. The power was instantly absorbed when it hit the barrier. All it did was create a ripple. It was unable to move the barrier. The group of people attacked for a whole 2 hours. Their powers were all used up, but they were unable to cause any ripples in the barrier. It was like an unshakable mountain. What a powerful barrier. Its defense is too strong. As expected of the barrier that sealed the Blood Soul Saint. It's not something we can move. But the more it's like this, the more trustworthy it is. If there were no extraordinary treasures in this place, why would a barrier be built? Even if the Blood Soul Saint is not sealed inside, there are still incredible treasures inside. None of the people present were discouraged by the fact that they could not break the barrier. Instead, they were all extremely excited. This meant that the treasures inside the barrier were beyond imagination. They felt their blood boiling. They could almost imagine the countless treasures inside the barrier. These were all treasures that could make one rich overnight. Could it be that the only way to break the barrier is to throw soul stones in? Someone suddenly remembered the words written on the flyer. 100 soul stones were needed to break the seal and save the Blood Soul Saint. But this barrier can even block our powers. Can we throw soul stones in? Someone suspected that the barrier could block everything. Even if they wanted to throw soul stones in, they would not be able to. Why don't we give it a try? There's no other way. Everyone present nodded. Compared to the treasures in the spirit formation space, a mere 100 soul stones were nothing. It was just a drop in the ocean. If one didn't give up a small fortune, one wouldn't be able to obtain a big fortune. Someone immediately took out 100 soul stones and tossed them into the spirit formation space. With a whooshing sound, the space boundaries suddenly rippled like water, and the soul stones instantly entered it, disappearing without a trace. Holy shit, you can really throw it in. The group of people was dumbfounded. Originally, they just wanted to give it a try. They didn't expect that they would really succeed. With a whooshing sound, the soul stone disappeared into the spatial barrier. Even if they wanted to regret it, it was too late. Apart from soul stones, I wonder if other non-living things can be thrown in? Some people suspected that non-living things might be able to enter this spatial barrier. However, when someone threw a stone at it, it was as if it had hit a wall. It was instantly smashed into smithereens, unable to enter at all. This barrier is really godly. Only soul-devouring stones can enter, and nothing else can enter? Many people were extremely depressed. They felt that this barrier was clearly a gold-devouring monster. But how could they know that at this moment, the enchantment was already under Corinne's control? Whatever it wants to come in, It is all up to Corinne. At this moment, Xia Ping was cultivating in Huaining City's Soul Palace and monitoring all kinds of information about Soul Palace. Corinne, on the other hand, stayed in this place, responsible for collecting a large number of soul stones and dealing with the aftermath. But didn't the flyers say that throwing 100 soul stones in will save the Blood Soul Saint? Why is there no movement now? Some people were puzzled. Idiot, this is a barrier to seal a saint. How can a mere 100 soul stones be enough? That's right. Perhaps each of us needs to throw 100 soul stones in. Yes, let's all try and see if we can succeed. Everyone nodded. They all took out their soul stones and threw them into the barrier. Immediately, thousands of soul stones were thrown into the spatial barrier. The problem was that after an hour, the spatial barriers still didn't move. It was as quiet as before. Corinne, who was inside the space enchantment, simply laughed. He didn't expect that this group of soul race people would be stupid to this extent. They were casually deceived, and they even willingly threw in their soul stones. Wasn't this giving them money? He had been with his old master for countless years, but he had never seen such a thing. A large group of people lined up to give him soul stones without even blinking. What's going on? Isn't it enough? Is that flyer a scam? Someone couldn't help but be suspicious. 100 soul stones disappeared in the blink of an eye. This made his heart ache. Although he was willing to pay in order to obtain greater benefits, he didn't see any return. It was like throwing money into water. At this moment, a ripple appeared in the spatial barrier again. Immediately, a piece of white paper flew out and landed on the ground. Everyone was shocked. They immediately went forward to take a look and saw 2 words written on it. Not enough. Damn, there's really someone in the spatial barrier. It's the Blood Soul Saint. The Blood Soul Saint is definitely in there. The Blood Soul Saint is really not dead. That's great. This news isn't a scam. It's true. That's right. It's impossible to save the Blood Soul Saint with just a few thousand soul stones. We need to gather the elites of the entire continent. That's right. Inform the others immediately. Only by working together can we have a chance to save the Blood Soul Saint. Once the Blood Soul Saint revives again, the extraterrestrial demons won't be able to continue being arrogant. Everyone present was excited. They believed that this was definitely the message from the Blood Soul Saint. Although the Blood Soul Saint was powerful, he was already sealed. This was the only way to inform the others for help. Immediately, a group of people left quickly. They planned to return to Huaining City and inform the families behind them to come. After all, whoever rescued the Blood Soul Saint first would be the greatest contributor and would have the upper hand. With the Blood Soul Saint's protection in the future, wouldn't their families be able to do whatever they wanted in the Blood Soul continent? They might even be able to occupy a place in the universe and become a family with tens of thousands of years of history. Many secret agents of the Soul race also left without stopping. They quickly informed the big shots of the Soul Palace headquarters. They definitely wouldn't allow other families to get hold of such shocking news first. Chapter 1180. As these people returned to Huaining City, they used the teleportation formation to travel to the major cities of the Blood Soul continent. The news that the Blood Soul Saint was really sealed in the valley spread like wildfire, causing a huge sensation. The rumor is true. The Blood Soul Saint is really sealed in the valley. Someone has already gone there to investigate and found a mysterious barrier that even Divinity Realm cultivators can't break. Someone immediately announced that someone had already gone to the valley to investigate and found a huge space barrier there. It was not a fake rumor. Really? Could this be another rumor? That's right. This is the place where the Blood Soul Saint was sealed. It's not something that can be found easily. Spreading rumors is a serious crime. Don't spread nonsense. Even though someone was spreading the rumor, many people were skeptical and felt that it was unrealistic. If it was so easy to find the Blood Soul Saint, there wouldn't have been no news of him for tens of thousands of years. It's true. There's no benefit in lying to you. If you don't believe me, you can go to the valley and check it out. It's there anyway, and he can't escape. The person swore that he was not lying. Even the elders and the hall master of the Soul Hall have been mobilized. They've started to seal the valley. If we're late, we won't have the chance to get close anymore. He patted his chest. It's true. I have insider information. The son of my cousin's friend went there and found a huge mysterious barrier. It's an ancient ruin that no one has ever discovered. Someone immediately agreed. He also admitted that the news could not be hidden anymore. It was too big and no one could keep it to themselves. It was enough to shake the entire Blood Soul continent. Another day passed, and news came out one after another. Some people saw that the 10 most powerful families of the Blood Soul continent had turned out in full strength. Many elders and elites of the families had arrived at Huining City from all directions of the Blood Soul continent. Even their ancestors who had disappeared for many years and the old farts came out of their ancestral lands to explore the mysterious valley. It was said that these old farts wanted to find a way to prolong their lives. Apart from these aristocratic families, there were also many experts among the common folk who did not want to be outdone. They were also extremely curious about the Blood Soul Saint, so they all formed groups and headed there. Of course, the one with the most people and the strongest strength was still Soul Palace. Countless elders, great elders, and even the Soul Palace master couldn't sit still anymore. They left the Soul Palace headquarters and arrived at Huining City. They called themselves the descendants of the Blood Soul Saint, the inheritors. If they didn't do anything about this, how would they dare to call themselves orthodox in the future? In fact, if the Blood Soul Saint really managed to escape just like that, what would happen to the Palace of Soul Elders? Each and every one of them would probably be punished by the Blood Soul Saint and die without a grave. Thus, regardless of whether that spirit formation space was the place where the Blood Soul Saint was sealed or not, they would still head there to check it out and get a share of the spoils. They would definitely not allow others to monopolize the spoils. For a time, Huining City almost became the center of the Blood Soul mainland. Countless people from all over the world gathered in this place. It could be said that a random rock could hit a divine tier cultivator. Based on the countless years of history of the Blood Soul mainland and the talent of the soul race, there were simply too many divine tier cultivators to count. It had reached a shocking level. Some of the local gangsters and dark forces that used to be tyrannical in Huining City all shrank back and did not dare to show their faces. They were afraid that they would be slapped to death by some powerful figure. If that happened, they would die a wrongful death. Therefore, Huining City's security had never been better. Petty theft had all disappeared. No one dared to show their faces and all left Huining City. This is too shocking. The masters of the top 10 superfamilies of the Blood Soul mainland and many old ancestors have all come. This is an unprecedented grand occasion. It's hard to see in a lifetime. This is nothing. Previously, Soul Palace's palace master Chong Shishing and many grand elders appeared here. That kind of lineup is something I will never forget for the rest of my life. These are all top-notch experts. Isn't that right? Now, in any tea house or restaurant in Huining City, there are probably people with big backgrounds and big forces. Elites are gathered here. The only thing that can make so many big shots gather here is the final battle with the extraterrestrial fiends. It seems that this news is 99% true. Otherwise, how could it attract so many big shots? Countless civilians in Huining City were discussing and sighing. They had never seen so many big shots in their lives, but now they saw all of them at once. If this matter was spread out, they could brag about it for the rest of their lives. I regret it. I thought it was just a rumor, a big joke. Whoever believed it was an idiot. I didn't expect it to be me. If I went to check it out earlier, I might have been the one to save the Blood Soul Saint. Someone beat his chest and stamped his feet in regret. Just you? Someone next to him said disdainfully, "You didn't believe it at first. Even if you really believed it, you wouldn't be able to save the Blood Soul Saint by going to that barrier space. Let's not talk about anything else. Do you have 100 soul stones?" That person's face turned green. He didn't even have one, let alone 100 soul stones. After all, soul stones were precious resources in the Blood Soul continent. They were even more valuable than gold. Those who could take out 100 soul stones were basically experts, or they came from a big family. Indeed, even if we believed it, we couldn't do anything about it. But it doesn't matter. As long as the Blood Soul Saint is saved, our Blood Soul continent will be rich. That's right. Let's see if the extraterrestrial fiends dare to be arrogant anymore. They won't dare to come here anymore. Once the Blood Soul Saint appears again, we'll have a good life. Many civilians were looking forward to it. At this moment, many elders and clan heads of the various clans in the Blood Soul continent, as well as a large number of elite experts of the Hall of Souls, were gathered in the valley. The area within a radius of a few thousand kilometers had been classified as a forbidden ground and was heavily guarded. It could be said that this place was listed as an absolute forbidden area. Even the main hall of the Blood Soul continent was not as heavily guarded as this place. Almost all the elite forces of the continent had swarmed out. Chapter 1181. Huaining City, at a street corner. The 7 Kills gang and the others also saw this grand occasion, but they were now very depressed. After waiting for more than a month, that bastard Xia Ping still did not come out of Soul Hall. They still could not find a chance to attack. Damn it, why is that guy still in Soul Hall? It's been more than a month and he hasn't taken a step out. Even an otaku wouldn't be like this. Doesn't he need to come out and take a breather? Fang Chen felt very depressed. Even as a very patient assassin, he was also very anxious about this situation. This was because the premise of patience was that they had absolute confidence that the other party would definitely appear here and that they would definitely be able to kill the target. However, facing a monster like Xia Ping who did not play by the rules, they had no confidence at all. Most importantly, their lives were still in the hands of the Wild Slaughter Saint, and they were in danger. If they did not kill Xia Ping, they would be dead for sure, and no one would be able to save them. If this kid suddenly decided to leave the Blood Soul continent, they would be doomed. Because of this situation, they were indifferent even when they heard that the Blood Soul Saint's seal had appeared. No matter how good the treasure was, it was not as important as their lives. Therefore, they were very anxious about this situation. The longer it took, the more disadvantageous it would be for them, and the higher the possibility of Xia Ping leaving Blood Soul continent. Don't take a breather. Didn't you see that he brought a peerless beauty with him when he entered Soul Hall in Huaining City? This kid is probably having fun every night in Soul Hall. He's basically a groom every day. Moreover, I also found out that this kid is actually pretending to be the Soul Hall master of Huaining City. This identity has monstrous power in Huaining City. He can basically do whatever he wants. I don't know how he got this kind of power. He even thought of pretending to be the Soul Hall master. Isn't he afraid that his identity will be exposed and he will die without a burial place? Damn monstrous power! Wouldn't that mean that he could get any woman he wanted? This is simply too awesome. That's not all. It said that Huaining City's Soul Palace master Zhuahao himself has dozens of beautiful concubines. Now that bastard is pretending to be Zhuahao, he probably wants to enjoy it. I don't know how many times he has slept with Zhuahao's concubines this month. Anyway, those concubines probably won't recognize him. What a beast! Not only did you kill him, you even made him a cuckold. You even slept with his wife and concubines. Are you still human? Although we are assassins and have no right to say such things, I still despise this kind of bitch who cheats on others. Son of a bitch, is this still a trial? He's simply here to act like a tyrant. So what if he's a disciple of a sage? The disciples of the large sects are all like this, not to mention this kid who achieved success at a young age and became a disciple of a saint. This is even more ridiculous. Even having a harem of 3,000 is nothing to him. I guess he's pretending to be Zhuahao not only to obtain the soul stone, but also to take the opportunity to enjoy himself. After all, sometimes the taste of a man is much better than that of a little girl. The 7 Kill gang and the others were all envious, jealous, and hateful. They were so jealous that their intestines turned green. When they thought of the bastard Xia Ping spending his time in Soul Palace, playing the flute every night and enjoying the pleasures of having multiple women, they were extremely displeased. Why did they have to eat and sleep in the open while Xia Ping enjoyed a luxurious life? It was too unfair. We can't continue waiting like this. We have to take the initiative to attack. Otherwise, we don't know how long we'll have to wait, Kong Nua said in a deep voice. Take the initiative? How can we take the initiative? That's the Soul Palace with many restrictions. If we go in, we'll definitely be beaten to death. Even if you want to die, don't do this. That's right. Let's just wait here and not do anything unnecessary. Otherwise, we'll alert the enemy and he'll immediately escape from the Blood Soul continent. We'll be dead. The others shook their heads and felt that it was better not to act rashly. Sometimes, being too impulsive was the beginning of destruction. Although they were impatient, they were not stupid. No. We don't need to go in. Kong Nuo revealed a sinister smile. I found out earlier that the moment that kid entered, he seemed to have a conflict with the Soul Palace Master's son, Chang-Chi. He beat Chang-Chi up and became a mortal enemy. The enmity between the two is irreconcilable and cannot be washed away. Why don't we borrow Chang-Chi's strength to force that kid out of the Soul Palace? His eyes flickered with a cold glint. What do you mean? The other 7 kill gang looked at Kong Nuo. It's simple. Report him. Kong Nuo smiled. We can send someone to Chang-Chi's residence and tell him that Zhuahao is actually an extraterrestrial demon in disguise. I'm sure Chang-Chi will take action. When the time comes, we can add fuel to the fire and secretly frame him. Then, it'll be hard for that kid not to escape from the Soul Palace. He revealed his plan. Not bad. Not a bad plan. Killing with a borrowed knife. This is the best plan. Let's do it. I don't want to wait any longer. That's right. Since he doesn't want to come out, we'll force him out. Let's see if he still wants to seduce women. The 7 kill gang and the others were filled with killing intent as they immediately came up with a plan. At this time, in a quiet room in the Soul Palace of Huaining City, Xia Ping was sitting cross-legged on a praying mat, his eyes closed as he channeled his spiritual energy. Vaguely, the air around him began to twist and distort, creating a strange phenomenon. It was as if a ball of fire had risen up and transformed into a divine bird. The entire quiet room was filled with scorching heat. It was like a furnace. Even the air was burning. Suddenly, he opened his eyes and shot out 2 beams of golden light that seemed to pierce through the air. The flames in the quiet room seemed to have a mind of their own and burrowed into Xia Ping's pores. In a few breaths, the flames in the quiet room disappeared completely. His power grew even greater, like a mountain standing in the middle of the room. Because of the large number of soul stones he had devoured, his consciousness had also become unbelievably strong. In the depths of the void, there seemed to be sabers, swords, bells, hammers, halberds, flutes, and other weapons appearing. These were illusions created when one's consciousness reached a certain level. Peak of the middle stage of the fulfillment realm. After a month of cultivation, Xia Ping had continuously devoured medicinal pills and soul stones. He had raised his cultivation base to the peak of the middle stage of the fulfillment realm. His entire purple mansion was filled with dense magic power. He was just a step away from the mastery stage of the fulfillment realm. He was getting closer and closer to the divine power realm. This kind of cultivation speed was so fast that it scared people to death. If he had stayed on the Cloud continent, it would have taken him at least a few decades to reach such a realm. Chapter 1182. At that moment, the system's voice rang out. Warning host, the enemy's killing intent has reached its peak. Please be careful. It's the 7 kill gang? They still want to cause trouble? Xia Ping sensed the system's image and learned of the 7 kill gang's plan. They wanted to join forces with Chang-Chi to retaliate against him and report him as an extraterrestrial demon. Originally, he did not want to bother with the 7 kill gang for the time being. However, their actions were seriously hindering his plan. Looks like I have to get rid of this group of people as soon as possible. I can't let them continue to be a hindrance here. Xia Ping's eyes flickered. After a month of fermenting, countless experts had been attracted to the valley. Even many experts from Soul Palace's main palace had swarmed out. Soul Palace's main palace was currently at its most vulnerable state. It was also the best time for him to sneak into Soul Palace's main palace. Therefore, he absolutely could not allow the 7 kill gang to cause trouble at this time. At that moment, His communication device rang. Immediately, Corinne's virtual projection appeared in front of Xia Ping. Xia Ping, the plan is progressing smoothly. That group of people has been completely attracted to the valley. Corinne said, "You can carry out the next step of the plan." "Very good." Xia Ping nodded. "However, there's a problem now. I just received news that a group of killers called the 7 Kill Gang wants to cause trouble for me. They also want to report me as an extraterrestrial demon. I have to think of a way to get rid of them." "There's such a thing. What do you want to do? Just say it." Corinne's killing intent soared. Xia Ping rubbed his chin. "Actually, we don't need to do anything. We can just borrow a knife to kill them." "Borrow a knife to kill them?" Corinne asked curiously. Xia Ping smiled. "Did you forget? You are now the Blood Soul Saint, the master of this continent. Isn't it simple to use your identity to command that group of Soul Palace experts to kill the 7 Kill Gang?" Corinne suddenly realized. He had almost forgotten that he was the Blood Soul Saint sealed in the depths of the valley. Wouldn't he be able to mobilize that group of Soul Palace experts with his swindling ability? Moreover, once the 7 Kill Gang's identity as an extraterrestrial demon was leaked, they would probably die even more miserably than Xia Ping. They still wanted to report him? Didn't they see who was the real snitch expert? Xia Ping despised the 7 Kills Gang. "I'll send you the appearance of the 7 Kills Gang and the others, as well as their hiding spots and other information," Xia Ping immediately said. According to the image provided by the system, he manually drew the appearance of the 7 Kills Gang and others, and then transmitted it to Corinne. At this moment in the valley, bang bang bang. At once, countless elites joined forces to attack the entire barrier. The power of divine tear erupted without restraint, and it was as if thousands of nuclear bombs were detonating at the same time. However, it was completely useless. They were all absorbed by this spatial formation, and it was completely unharmed. As expected, there's no way to break it. It's just too sturdy. Even with so many of us divine tier cultivators working together, we can't do anything about it. If I'm not wrong, this is a spatial formation that has been passed down since ancient times. It forms its own space and forms a spatial barrier. Ordinary power cannot break it. As expected of the place where Saint Blood Soul was sealed. It's not a place that ordinary people can break through. Looks like we can only throw the soul stones in and let Saint Blood Soul obtain the power to break out. Seeing this, many Soul Palace elites were not dejected at all. Instead, they were excited. The more power they could resist, the more real this matter was. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. At once, many people chose to take action, throwing the soul stones they had on them into the barrier one by one. For experts like them, a mere 100 soul stones were child's play. It was not even a drop in the ocean. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Immediately, the entire spatial barrier was filled with a large number of soul stones, pouring in as if they were free. The number of soul stones here was even more than this small soul stone mine. Corinne was dumbfounded. There were 200,000 to 300,000 soul stones here, and the entire space was filled with dense soul energy that was almost tangible. "Good people, you're all good people. Thank you so much." Corinne happily stored all the soul stones into his spatial ring. Fortunately, he had plundered the spatial rings from the Lingyun sect, 5 Elements sect, and other sects' disciples. There were more than 100 of them, and the space was extremely large. Otherwise, it would have been rather difficult to take these soul stones away. Xia Ping also saw this scene through the virtual projection and was overjoyed. He did not expect this group of people to act as couriers and actually deliver the soul stones here. It was really hard on them. Not bad. Corinne immediately threw a piece of paper outside the barrier. When the people outside saw the piece of paper appear out of nowhere, it immediately caused a huge commotion. Countless experts stared at the piece of paper. "Oh my God, Saint Blood Soul is really inside the barrier. Looks like we made the right decision. I did not expect Saint Blood Soul to really be sealed in this place. We made the right choice this time. Saint Blood Soul is praising us. I'm too excited." Everyone was extremely excited. Some old men were even crying. To them, Saint Blood Soul was like a god. To be able to see such an existence was an honor that they might not have in their entire lives. Some old men who were about to reach the end of their lifespans felt that their bodies were filled with strength. It was as if their vitality had recovered a little. Chang Shisheng's eyes flickered, but he was a little suspicious. Why would a saint use a piece of paper to communicate? He felt that something was wrong, but he could not tell what it was. However, he was not worried, because the soul stones were just thrown into the barrier. As long as the barrier was broken, if the other party was not Saint Blood Soul, the soul stones would eventually return to their hands. The soul stones could not grow legs and could not run away. Regardless of whether this was a scam or the truth, they were sure to win. They were in an invincible position. I need 3 days to break the seal. Another piece of paper flew out lightly. This was also the time Corinne was buying for Xia Ping. As long as they could obtain the inheritance from Soul Hall, they would be able to escape after 3 days. That's great. I only need 3 days. 3 more days and we will be able to see the saint? What an honor. This is the biggest thing in the history of our Blood Soul mainland. Chapter 1183. But soon, another note was thrown out, which read, "But this sage has predicted that some extraterrestrial demons may come to stop this sage from breaking the seal. These enemies need to be dealt with by you." What? Someone dares to stop old ancestor from breaking the seal? They are simply courting death. What kind of extraterrestrial demons are so arrogant? This old man will go and kill them now. An old man at the peak of divine power realm flew into a rage. He had a blood feud with extraterrestrial demons. Many of his relatives and friends had died in the battle with extraterrestrial demons. So, when he heard that extraterrestrial demons had appeared, he could not control the anger in his heart. "That's right, Lord, which extraterrestrial demons are so arrogant? Please tell us, we will immediately go and deal with those guys." "That's right, let's go and kill them all." Everyone was filled with righteous indignation, and their emotions surged as they clamored to go and kill those arrogant extraterrestrial demons. Those extraterrestrial demons are hiding in Huining City, waiting for an opportunity to move. There are 7 of them. These are their portraits and possible hiding places. You go and kill them quickly. Immediately, Xia Ping ordered Corinne to throw out the portraits of the 7 murders gang, as well as a series of information about their hiding places. Amazing, worthy of being the old ancestor. Although he is sealed in the valley, he still has the power to interfere thousands of miles away. Not only can he accurately find the specific location of the extraterrestrial demons, but even the portraits have appeared. The group of people prostrated themselves on the ground in admiration, feeling deep veneration. He was worthy of being the old ancestor who created the Blood Soul continent, a godlike existence. Even if his power was sealed for who knows how much, he still had such magical power. It was too terrifying. Oh, one of them seems to be called Master Mutato. This person is extremely vicious and has committed many evil deeds. He kills people like flies. His martial arts is very high. Everyone must be careful when dealing with him. It is best not to talk nonsense with them and kill them on the spot. Don't give them a chance to resist. Otherwise, they will definitely escape. A note once again flew out, warning them in detail. Master Mutato. Hearing this, Soul Hall Master Chang Shisheng's eyes turned red. He was like a fighting bull, his nose fuming, and his whole body emitting a terrifying murderous aura. Hall Master Chang, what's wrong? Why are you so angry when you see the name Master Mutato? Someone immediately noticed Chang Shisheng's abnormality and couldn't help but ask. Chang Shisheng gnashed his teeth and told him about how his son had been killed by the extraterritorial fiend. Wu Taidu killed my son, Chang Feng, some time ago. I have a blood feud with him. I didn't expect him to be so audacious as to hide in Huining City and act like a tyrant under my nose. He did not expect to hear the name of the murderer here. For a moment he was shocked. Chang Shisheng had not expected the sealed Blood Soul Saint to be so powerful. He had even managed to find his enemy. What an arrogant fiend demon from the outer realm. You're truly vicious and vicious to even dare to kill the son of the Hall Master. Everyone has the right to punish such an evil person. Fortunately, the ancestor was perceptive enough to predict the enemy's movements and find the tracks of that xenorace fiend. Otherwise, wouldn't he be able to get away scot-free and flee without a trace? Stop talking nonsense. Let's immediately go and kill all of those xenorace fiends. Not a single one will be spared. Everyone yelled with murderous intent. Even the Soul Hall Master Chang Shishing's son had died in the hands of those xenorace fiends. One could imagine how dangerous those xenorace fiends were. Even if it wasn't to protect the Blood Soul Saint, the danger of those xenorace fiends alone was enough for them to mobilize all of them to kill all of them. Ancestor, I'll go and kill those enemies right now. How could the Soul Hall Master Chang Shishing sit still? He immediately mobilized his troops and returned to Huaining City. He could not wait to kill the enemy who had killed his son. The other old men at the peak of Transcendent Realm heard this and set off one by one. They would not pass up the task of killing the Blood Soul Saint's enemies. At that moment, in an ordinary residence in Huaining City, which was also the temporary base camp of the 7 Kills gang, the owner of the residence had already been killed by them. They destroyed the corpse and even disguised themselves as the owner of the residence. The people around did not notice anything and thought that it was the same as usual. Immediately, a gust of wind flashed by. Kong Nua's figure appeared before everyone. He had gone to talk to Chang Chi this time, wanting to use him to expose Xia Ping's identity. How did it go? Did you get in touch with the Soul Hall Master's son, Chang Chi? Fong Chen immediately asked. The others also looked at Kong Nua. Fortunately, I did. Kong Nua smiled faintly. I've already contacted Chang Chi. He's very interested in this information, but he's still a little doubtful of my words. He said that he needs us to bring out evidence. Evidence? Fong Chen immediately frowned. How can we bring out any evidence? The others nodded. If they had evidence, they would have exposed that kid's true identity long ago and killed Xia Ping under the combined attacks of many soul race experts. No. That kid doesn't want ordinary evidence. He wants to prove his loyalty. Kong Nuan narrowed his eyes. That kid already hates Xia Ping's disguise as Zhuahao to the bone and wants to get rid of him as soon as possible. Seeing us appear, he isn't surprised, but happy instead. Though he doesn't believe us, he says that he can help us enter Huaining City's Soul Hall. He can even help us and create an opportunity to assassinate Xia Ping. He looked at everyone. So that's how it is. That kid wants to borrow a knife to kill someone. That's right. Though he's the Soul Hall Master's son, killing a Soul Hall submaster is still very difficult. He can't do it himself. He can only borrow someone else's hand. That's great. That kid deserves it. There are enemies everywhere. Even the natives of this place are helping us. As long as we can sneak into Soul Hall, that kid won't be able to live even if he has 9 lives. Who told him to be so arrogant and openly offend the Soul Hall Master's son? Isn't he just seeking his own death? The 7 Kills gang was proud. They didn't expect this turn of events. With Chang Chi's help, they could easily sneak into Huaining City's Soul Hall. All right, there's no time to lose. Chang Chi has already arranged an identity for us to sneak into Huaining City's Soul Hall. Let's go. Kong Nua was high-spirited. He could almost see himself completing his mission. As soon as he finished speaking, the house's door was blasted open by a powerful force. Immediately, a middle-aged man flew in from afar and arrived at the house. His powerful aura enveloped the area, causing the surrounding 10 miles to tremble. Who is Master Matato? Come and die immediately! The middle-aged man roared. His face was ferocious as he emitted a condensed killing intent. Chapter 1184. What? The 7 Kills gang and the others were shocked when they sensed this extremely powerful aura and the power of a peak divine tier being bearing down on them. Every cell in their bodies felt a fatal threat, as if this middle-aged man had the power to kill them all. Especially the divine sense power emitted from his body, which was far above theirs. They immediately knew that this middle-aged man who suddenly appeared was a super expert of the soul race and could not be underestimated. Immediately, they could not help but suppress the anger in their hearts. Now was the best time to assassinate Xia Ping. They could not fail here. Friend, Are you looking at the wrong place? There is no one called Master Potato here. Fang Chen showed a friendly smile, indicating that the other party was looking for the wrong target. There was no Master Potato among them. I'm not looking at the wrong place. The old ancestor said that Master Potato is here, so he must be here. Chang Shishing's eyes showed a trace of coldness. Moreover, I feel a trace of a disgusting aura from you. You are not people of my soul race, but demons from the outer realm. The old ancestor was right. As the palace lord of Soul Palace, his soul power was above everyone else. Even a cultivator at the peak of divine ability realm couldn't compare to him. It could be said that he was gifted. With such a powerful soul power, he was extremely sensitive to all kinds of auras. If they were far away, with the 7 kill gang's concealment, perhaps Chang Shishing would not be able to sense them. However, they were so close and deliberately probing. He immediately sensed that the 7 people in front of him were not people of the soul race. Moreover, their bodies were filled with a terrifying killing intent. There was a vague image of a mountain of corpses and a sea of blood. These people were definitely not ordinary people. The number of lives they had stained on their hands was simply extraordinary. For such people, even if Master Potato was not among them, they were still enemies that Soul Palace had to eliminate. What old ancestor? The 7 kill gang and the others were all shocked. They thought that they had concealed themselves very well and were extremely careful in everything they did, but when had they given themselves away and been targeted by the soul race? Who is this so-called ancestor? Friend, we don't understand what you're talking about. However, we don't have the person you're looking for here. You're looking for the wrong person, Fang Chen said solemnly. Hallmaster Chang, why are you wasting your breath on these fiends? The old ancestor has instructed us to kill them the moment we see them. We must absolutely not waste our breath on them. All of a sudden, countless figures flew over from afar. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. In just a few breaths, dozens of figures descended upon the residence, each of them emanating the presence of divine tier pinnacle. They came from all directions and swiftly surrounded the place. These were all peak experts of the Spiritus. Although they had arrived a step later than Chang Shishing, they had arrived right after him. Fuck, what's going on? Why are we surrounded? The faces of the 7 kills gang and the others turned green. As assassins, they had always been the ones ambushing the enemy. There was absolutely no reason for them to be ambushed by the enemy. However, they had now been silently surrounded by dozens of soul race experts. They could even feel countless powerful auras swarming over from afar. This was just the vanguard. In all their years of being assassins, they had never encountered such a situation. It was a bit like they had been betrayed and ended up falling into the enemy's trap. The problem was that the 7 kills gang was like brothers, and they had the same interests. There was absolutely no reason for them to betray each other. So who was it that leaked their whereabouts? Could it be that Master Potato? Or was it purely because they were caught in the crossfire of Master Potato? If that was the case, then they were too unlucky. Could such a thing really happen in this world? Wait, are you guys misunderstanding something? We really don't have anyone called Master Potato here. Even if you're looking for revenge, you're looking for the wrong person. Don't misunderstand, good people, we're all innocent. Being stared at by so many soul race experts, Kong Nua's face turned green. He felt as if his life was frozen in water. Death is at hand, and yet you're still playing dumb. I think you won't shed a tear until you see the coffin. Wait until I capture you fiends and torture you, then I'll know whether or not there's anyone called Master Potato among you. Chang Shishing roared. His eyes were bloodshot as he immediately attacked. Terrifying psychic waves rolled out soundlessly, enveloping the 7 kill gang and the others in an instant. It was not only Chang Shishing who attacked, the others also quickly attacked without mercy. Damn it. Bastard. Who the hell is this Master Potato? Why did he involve us? Feeling this power, Fong Li and the others' faces turned green. This was simply an undeserved disaster. What was the origin of Master Potato? Why would he seek revenge on them? They hated Master Potato to the extreme. If it wasn't for that bastard, how could they fall into such a situation and be surrounded by so many soul race experts, falling into such a desperate situation? The Seven Kills gang also knew that it was not the time to reason with the soul race experts. They immediately used all their strength to attack, and a terrifying magical power instantly erupted. Dun, dun, dun. Two forces instantly collided, producing bursts of explosions in midair. The entire residential area was razed to the ground, and the rocks were shaken into powder. The area within a radius of dozens of miles shook violently, and a loud rumbling sound rang out. Puff! The Seven Kills gang and the others could not help but spit out a mouthful of blood. This was because the soul race's spiritual attack was too terrifying. It penetrated into their souls and immediately injured them. Chang Shishing and the others were also shaken back again and again. It really is an extraterrestrial demon. This power is not something our soul race can have. Old Ancestor is indeed perceptive. His eyes are like torches. He actually managed to uncover such powerful outer realm fiends. Fortunately, we found their whereabouts in time. Otherwise, if we let them continue like this in our territory, who knows how much damage they will cause. Kill them. Many soul race experts shouted. The more powerful the Seven Kills gang was, the more they were afraid. They would not believe that such powerful experts sneaked into the soul race's territory without a purpose. Immediately, they joined forces and fused their spiritual power together, turning into a sea of spiritual power. It surged to the extreme and condensed into a substance, crushing towards the Seven Kills gang. Not good. The Seven Kills gang's expression changed greatly. If they were hit by this attack, they would die without a doubt. The joint attack of dozens of soul race experts was not something the Seven Kills gang could resist. Lesser Shift Talisman. At this moment, the Seven Kills gang and the others shouted. They immediately took out golden talismans from their bodies and activated their magical power. Immediately, the golden talismans turned into a golden light that wrapped around their bodies. Chapter 1185. Damn it, they escaped. Chang Shishing's face darkened. He saw the Seven Kill gang and the others instantly leave and disappear without a trace. What happened? How did they escape from our encirclement in an instant? Someone was puzzled. This is a special talisman of the foreign demons. It has incredible power and can instantly leave the place. It contains space, but this talisman is too precious. It's not something ordinary people can have, an old man said in a deep voice. An old man said in a low voice. He had once fought with countless fiend devils and was very clear that the other party had various means. However, he didn't expect that these fiend devils would also have such special talismans. Could it be that those extraterritorial fiends escaped? We didn't complete the task given by the old ancestor. This is a serious crime. Someone's face darkened. Not to mention the fact that they did not complete the task given by the Blood Soul Saint, just the thought of letting those ferocious foreign demons escape would cause a lot of trouble in the future. They shuddered at the thought of it. Don't worry, the entire Huaining City is covered by the formation. They can't escape from Huaining City. As long as we search every inch of the city, we will find those foreign demons sooner or later. Chang Shishing was filled with killing intent. In order to kill those few fiend devils, he had already made all the necessary preparations. Okay. Everyone nodded. They immediately split up and went to various places in Huaining City to search for traces of the Seven Kill gang. Once they found them, they would call out to everyone and kill them without mercy. At this moment, the Seven Kill gang and the others instantly moved to a corner of Huaining City. Originally, they wanted to move out of Huaining City, but they were blocked by the formation of Huaining City and the space was sealed. Therefore, they were shot down halfway and fell to a remote place. Although they escaped in time, they were attacked by Chang Shishing and the others. Their souls were instantly injured, and their combat power was reduced by more than 90%. Now, they were panting and bleeding from all over their bodies. They were seriously injured and on the verge of death. Bastards! How did that group of people discover us? I was actually encircled and ambushed because I wasn't careful and almost died at the hands of these natives. This is an extraordinary humiliation, an extraordinary humiliation. Fang Chen was incomparably furious. This was truly a case of hunting eagles all day long, only to have their eyes pecked out by eagles. As a renowned assassin, there was actually a day where he was silently surrounded by others. This was a humiliation. I heard those bastards say that they want to arrest Master Mutato, so I surrounded them. Kong Nua gritted her teeth and said, in other words, they didn't come here specifically to capture us, but to capture Master Mutato. They inadvertently made a mistake in the information, which led them to us. Fuck, doesn't this mean that we were wronged for no reason? This is simply an undeserved calamity. Which bastard is Master Mutato? I will immediately go and kill him. Second brother Maobu was so angry that he vomited blood. When he thought about how they were almost killed by the natives, he was filled with anger. He did not die in the hands of the wild slaughter saint, but was sullenly destroyed in the hands of that Master Mutato. How could he endure this kind of grievance? If they hadn't made a prompt decision to escape just now and used the small teleportation talisman that they spent a large amount of money to buy, they probably would have truly died. It could be said that this was simply an enormous hatred. Master Mutato, don't ever let me find you, or else I definitely won't forgive you. Fang Chen roared towards the sky. He simply hated Master Mutato to the bone. If it wasn't for that bastard offending a Soul Palace expert for no reason, how could they have suffered such an undeserved calamity and almost been killed on the spot? Moreover, in order to survive, they had used up their precious escape methods. These were precious talismans that they had paid a huge price to obtain. Who would have thought that they would be used up here? Just this small teleportation talisman alone would require an unknown amount of money to exchange for. This was an extremely disastrous loss. But what business do you have with me? With a so, at this moment, a voice rang out and a figure immediately appeared in front of the 7-kill gang. What? Hearing this voice, Fang Chen and the others were shocked. They didn't expect to be found so quickly while hiding in such a secretive place. They turned around and immediately saw a familiar figure appear in front of them. Xia Ping. Fang Chen and the others' eyes almost popped out because the person who appeared in front of them was the target that they had been thinking about killing day and night. Even if they were beaten to death, they would never have thought that they would see Xia Ping in such a situation. This was simply unimaginable. However, in this situation, they couldn't feel happy at all. Because they had already been heavily injured by many soul race experts, even if they wanted to kill Xia Ping, it was impossible. What do you mean? Could it be that you are Master Mutato? Could it be that you knew that we were planning to assassinate you? Fang Chen and the others quickly remembered what Xia Ping had just said. They were shocked. The situation before was not an accident. Instead, it was carefully planned by this brat. However, the problem was that these were all top figures of the soul race. Why would they listen to this brat's words? Most importantly, they hadn't exposed themselves at all. In fact, they hadn't even attacked Xia Ping once. How did this brat know that they wanted to assassinate him? This was too strange. If you want to know, go down and ask Yama. A cold light flashed in Xia Ping's eyes. He had found the specific location of Fang Chen and the others through the system and attacked them directly. His goal was to cut the weeds at the roots, so there was no need for him to talk nonsense with them. It should be known that these people were all assassins who were proficient in assassination methods. They were very familiar with escape methods. If he was the slightest bit careless, they would escape, and the consequences would be endless. Therefore, he was fully prepared to kill these assassins. Solar God Fist. In the blink of an eye, Xia Ping punched out. 7 solidified fists of fire appeared in midair. They were like 7 suns, crushing down and destroying everything in their path. No! The 7 Kills gang and the others shouted. As cultivators at the peak of the transcendent realm, they should have been able to resist this move. However, they had been attacked by many soul race experts and were already heavily injured. They didn't have more than 90% of their strength left. Facing Xia Ping's peak punch, they were completely locked onto their auras. How could they possibly resist such an attack when they weren't prepared? Wait, Don't you want to know who sent us to assassinate you? Fang Chen and the others were extremely frightened. They hurriedly shouted, hoping to use this secret to exchange for their lives. There's no need. Go to hell. Xia Ping did not hesitate and punched out. Boom. The terrifying fist force bombarded the bodies of the 7 Kills gang and the others. In the next second, their bodies exploded and were burned to ashes by the flames. Chapter 1186. In the distance, on a planet in the depths of the universe. Mad Slaughter Saint's eyes suddenly opened, revealing a terrifying light that seemed to pierce through the void. He felt that the mark he left on the 7 Kills gang had disappeared. This meant that the 7 Kills gang was dead. Not a single one was left. What a piece of trash. They were killed. Mad Slaughter Saint's expression was extremely ugly. He originally thought that he could use the power of the 7 Kills gang to kill the disciples of Dark North Saint. He did not expect that those pieces of trash would be killed on the spot before they could even see Xia Ping's face. He was extremely annoyed, but there was nothing he could do. If he chose to make a move now, he would definitely be discovered by Dark North Saint. At that time, he would probably be hunted down by Dark North Saint. The gains would not make up for the losses. Damn it, I'll spare your dog life this time. It won't be so easy next time. Mad Slaughter Saint snorted coldly. He quickly regained his composure. This was because this operation was just a casual move he made on a whim. It would be great if he succeeded, but it did not matter if he failed. In short, there were plenty of opportunities in this world. There would always be a time to kill the disciples of Dark North Saint. Thinking of this, Mad Slaughter Saint closed his eyes again and continued to cultivate. As he breathed, the entire planet seemed to form a huge vortex. Blood-colored clouds enveloped the entire planet, swallowing the energy in the depths of the universe. At this moment, Huining City's Soul Hall. Xia Ping killed the 7 Kills gang and took away all their space rings. Then he quietly left and returned to Huining City's Soul Hall. This operation was done without anyone knowing. No one knew that the 7 Kills gang had been quietly killed by Xia Ping. The entire Huining City was on high alert. Countless experts patrolled the city, trying to find the 7 foreign fiends. But unfortunately, no matter how hard they searched, they couldn't find the 7 people who had already turned into ashes. What a treasure! Xia Ping carefully looked through these space rings and immediately found that there were many pills that increased spiritual power, such as 5 elements pills, yin-yang pills, and so on. There were a total of 30,000 pills. In addition, he also found many healing pills and spiritual medicine, each of which was very valuable. There's even a bank card. And it's an anonymous bank card. Xia Ping also found that the 7 Kills gang also carried bank cards in their space rings, a total of 7 of them. As top killers, their identities could not be seen. Once they were exposed, they would definitely be chased endlessly. They were extremely suspicious and never trusted anyone. They didn't want to leave their information anywhere, so they applied for anonymous bank cards to store all their assets. However, this kind of anonymous bank card did not have a password. As long as someone found this bank card, they could go to the bank to withdraw money automatically. No one would come to question them. Ordinary people would not use it. However, the 7 Kills group was extremely confident in their abilities and believed that they would never lose their bank cards. If they did, it would mean that they were dead. Since they were all dead, it did not matter. If they were dead, it would not. Of the 7 gang would be 5 of Kills. Xia of said, Xia of Xia, comma, Xia of star, Xia of, comma of, universe, of gang. Xia Ping was amazed. He did not expect there to be so much money in the bank cards. He wondered how many targets they had killed to earn so much money. The 7 of them added up to 350 million universe credits, which was a huge sum of money. The wealth of an ordinary Divine Realm cultivator could not compare to that of the 7 Kills gang, so they could be considered rich. Wait, there seems to be a spiritual weapon? Xia Ping continued to search the space rings for treasures. He immediately found a treasure in Fang Tang's space ring that exuded a powerful aura. It was a spiritual weapon. The spiritual weapon had the appearance of a human, like a puppet. It was in liquid form, like a liquid robot. There was an extremely complicated and mysterious formation engraved on it. What kind of spiritual weapon is this? Xia Ping was very curious. He looked through the space ring and immediately found a book that Fang Tang had left behind. It was information about the puppet, and its name was Infinite Puppet. This infinite puppet had been obtained by Fang Tang in a secret ruin somewhere in the universe. It was said to be a special product left behind by a famous ancient sect, the Puppet Sect. Back then, the Puppet Sect had made a name for itself by creating puppets. They were good at creating artifacts, and the puppets they created were extremely powerful. They even used assembly lines to produce hundreds of millions of powerful puppets. It was said that they had once created puppets that could rival saints, and they became famous in the universe for a time. However, this powerful sect still disappeared, destroyed by even more powerful sections. They were completely eradicated, leaving behind mysterious and powerful ruins all over the universe. Once, Fang Chen accidentally entered this ruin and obtained this limitless puppet, which was at least a mid-grade spirit artifact. Once the infinite puppet was used, as long as the user's magical power was strong enough, it could split into puppet warriors. They had half the user's combat power, and they could assist the user in battle like soldiers. The user could remotely command these puppets to fight from hundreds of miles away. Fang Tang had relied on this infinite puppet to become the leader of the 7 Kills gang. He had countless puppet soldiers, and he even had an undying characteristic. If the master did not die, he only needed to spend a bit of magical power to quickly regenerate and return to its original state. If the enemy was surrounded by the puppet army and could not break out, the enemy would basically be dead. The most terrifying thing was that this infinite puppet could become stronger as its master became stronger, and it had high growth potential. Even during the puppet sect's heyday, this infinite puppet was a rather precious treasure. What a treasure! Xia Ping was instantly overjoyed. He immediately infused his magical power into it and refined this infinite puppet. At this moment, the infinite puppet's eyes shone with a hint of blue light, and it said in a robotic voice, "Old Master Fang Tang has died, and is now ownerless. Now accepting new master's information. Scanning, new master's aptitude is stronger than old master's, meets the requirements for owner recognition. Owner recognition successful. Master, please bestow me a name." Xia Ping immediately felt a connection between his soul and the infinite puppet. He knew that he had already refined this mid-grade spirit artifact. When he heard the infinite puppet's words, he immediately rubbed his chin. "Then from now on, I'll call you Infinite. Name bestowment successful." Chapter 1187. What a powerful puppet! After refining Infinite Puppet, Xia Ping instinctively understood how to use this middle-grade soul weapon. How powerful this infinite puppet was completely dependent on its master's power. Based on his current magical power, he could make the unlimited puppets split into tens of thousands. Moreover, they would be undying and indestructible puppet soldiers, which would be enough to destroy an entire country. Moreover, because Infinite Puppet was made of special materials, it could transform into thousands of different forms. Back then, Fang Qin used Infinite Puppet to transform into himself to carry out assassination missions while he controlled it from afar. This way, he was absolutely safe. Therefore, his assassination missions had a 100% success rate. He was known as an assassin who never failed. His name struck fear into people's hearts. This also resulted in his bounty being extremely high. He could even use Infinite Puppet as a substitute. This way, even if the enemy charged over, they would only destroy a clone of Infinite Puppet while the main body would remain unharmed. However, because Fang Qin relied too much on Infinite Puppet, he only had the ability to fight from afar. Once he encountered an unexpected situation and his main body was in danger, he would be at a loss. Just like this time, he completely didn't expect them to be ambushed. Therefore, he was heavily injured in a moment of carelessness. Moreover, Xia Ping came to him directly and killed him on the spot before he could even take out Infinite Puppet. It was a very unjust death. Alright, now it's time to head to Soul Palace Great Palace. Xia Ping put all these things away. Since he already dealt with the 7 kills horde, no one could stop him from heading to Soul Palace Great Palace. Moreover, Soul Palace Great Palace was in its most empty state right now. Many experts had left. Now was the best time to enter. If he missed this opportunity, he didn't know when he would have to wait. 2 hours later, Huaining City's Soul Palace teleportation formation was activated. In the next second, Xia Ping and Lu Rulan appeared in Soul Palace Great Palace. This time, Lu Rulan also followed. Because Xia Ping wasn't very familiar with Soul Palace Great Palace, Lu Rulan's help allowed him to easily enter various places in Soul Palace Great Palace. They really came. Lu Rulan's beautiful eyes revealed a complicated expression. She never expected she would have the chance to return to Soul Palace's Great Palace. She remembered that the last time she came was when she accepted Soul Palace's inherited secret technique. Other than that, she wouldn't have another chance to return. Moreover, she wasn't the only one who had come. She had even brought an outer realm evil devil with her. If she was discovered by Soul Palace's experts, she didn't know how much trouble it would cause. The entire Blood Soul continent would be shaken. But now that she had been kidnapped by Xia Ping, it was impossible for her to get off. Even if she wanted to escape, it was impossible. Most importantly, she'd been slandered by Zhuahao for colluding with the fiends of outer dimensions, and this was a crime that would annihilate her entire clan. There was no place for her in the Blood Soul continent since a long time ago, so she could only walk down the path of darkness until the end. This is Soul Palace Great Palace? Xia Ping looked up and immediately saw that he was in a large hall. There were many teleportation arrays around him. From time to time, light would flash and figures would come out from the teleportation arrays. These people came from all over the Blood Soul continent, and they came to Soul Palace Great Palace for various reasons. He spread his divine senses and sensed many powerful auras hidden in the huge building. Even though many experts had left because of the Blood Soul Saints' news, the center of the Blood Soul continent still had a considerable degree of defense. The entire huge building was set up with a super formation. Traces of nomological auras seemed to appear in the deep void, like chains of order that hung in the void. If the formation in this place was activated, it could instantly refine the enemies within the formation, killing them without leaving behind a complete corpse. There are many branches in Soul Palace Great Palace, such as the Treasure Hall, Martial Arts Hall, Inheritance Hall, Alchemy Hall, and so on. The place we're going to this time is the Inheritance Hall. Lu Rulan secretly sent a voice transmission to Xia Ping. There's an ancient inheritance tablet in the Inheritance Hall that was left behind by the Blood Soul Saint. It contains many supreme secret skills of our Soul Clan. However, it's all about luck if you want to obtain any secret skills. That's because you need the Inheritance Tablet. It's said that it's a treasure in itself. It has the power to explore a disciple's talent and automatically select a suitable secret skill for you to inherit. However, the Inheritance Hall doesn't open every day. It only opens once every 3 years to allow geniuses from all over the Blood Soul continent to inherit. Today isn't the day it opens. Therefore, the Inheritance Hall's security is extremely tight. It won't be easy to get in. She still felt that obtaining the Soul Palace's inheritance was an impossible task. Even though most of the experts in Soul Palace had left, there was still a small number of old antiques left. These old antiques controlled the Soul Palace's formation and could easily kill intruders who entered the Soul Palace Great Palace. Treasure Hall? Could there be some treasure in there? Xia Ping's eyes lit up. Don't even think about getting your hands on the Treasure Hall. The security there is more than 100 times tighter than the Inheritance Hall. There's practically a guard every few steps. If the guards inside are alerted, we're dead meat. Lu Rulan glared at the bandit like bastard. He was an extraterrestrial demon indeed. His eyes lit up like the sun when he saw a treasure. Then let's forget it. Xia Ping felt that it was a pity. However, compared to the many treasures, the Inheritance Hall's secret techniques were more important. After all, if he grasped a powerful mental secret technique, he would be able to obtain a steady stream of treasures in the future. In the universe, personal strength was the most important. These treasures were just external objects. Destroying his plan to sneak into the inheritance hall for the sake of some treasures was not something that would be worth it. Follow me. Lu Rulan brought Xia Ping away from the teleportation formation and sneaked into the Soul Palace Great Palace. An hour later, the two of them turned left and right. Under the guidance of the spy, Lu Rulan, who was very familiar with the way, they avoided countless guards along the way. They finally arrived at a black palace. Above the palace, there was a board with the words Inheritance Hall written on it. It seemed to contain a powerful mental imprint that made it impossible to look at it directly. This place seemed to be a forbidden ground. The surroundings were surrounded by powerful restrictive formations that couldn't be easily entered. Moreover, there seemed to be no guards at the palace entrance. What's going on? Why aren't there any guards? Lu Rulan was confused and blinked her beautiful eyes. Chapter 1188. There's a divine realm elder. Then what do we do? Lu Rulan was shocked. Usually, the Hall of Heritage was guarded by elite soldiers of the Fulfillment Realm. The elders of the Divine Power Realm would never appear in this place. After all, the things they wanted had already been obtained from Inheritance Palace. There was no need for them to come here all the time. However, if Inheritance Palace had this many Divine Realm elders, then their plan this time would completely fail. After all, once they alerted the Soul Palace elders, they would not be able to escape. No problem, I can easily get rid of them. Xia Ping patted his chest, indicating that this was not a problem. Easily get rid of them? Don't joke around. That's a transcendent realm expert we're talking about. Even if you have the strength to defeat one, can you guarantee that nothing will happen? Lu Rulan said impatiently, we're in the enemy's lair right now. If there's even the slightest movement, countless experts will attack us from all directions. When that time comes, the entire Soul Palace will be our enemy. She believed that the experts in Inheritance Palace were only the beginning. The scariest thing was the helpers that would follow. That was the true fatal reason. They could not act recklessly. No problem, getting rid of them is easy. Xia Ping narrowed his eyes. He walked straight into Inheritance Palace and knocked on the door. Suddenly, knocking sounds could be heard from the Hall of Inheritance. This madman! Lu Rulan wanted nothing more than to grab Xia Ping and beat him up. Even if he wanted to die, he shouldn't do this. Yet he stupidly knocked on the door. Wasn't this clearly letting the enemy find him? They were here to steal the inheritance of the Soul Hall. Thus, they should be hiding their tracks. Yet, right now, they were acting so courteously and even went up to knock on the door. It was as if they were afraid that others wouldn't know how this foolish outer realm fiend managed to survive until now. Who's it? Who the fuck is knocking on the door? Don't you know our elders are in Inheritance Palace trying to comprehend a secret technique? If you interrupt our comprehension and cause our souls to be injured, can you at least bear the responsibility? With a paw, the door of the Inheritance Hall was immediately opened. An old man in a gray robe rushed out. His beard was curled up in anger, and his face was full of anger. It seemed that he wanted to beat up the person who knocked on the door. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. The 5 to 6 Divine Ability Realm old men who were comprehending with their eyes closed also widened their eyes in anger as they looked out of the door. They had clearly ordered that no one was to disturb them at this time. But there just had to be someone who didn't know the rules and came to the Inheritance Hall to cause trouble. Wasn't this courting death? Fortunately, they had just begun to comprehend the Inheritance Steel's secret spiritual technique. If they had entered a deeper level of comprehension, they would have been scared to death by such a shock. One could imagine how furious they were right now. Elder, I'm sorry. I've just arrived and wanted to take a look around the Inheritance Hall. I'm really sorry for disturbing you. Xia Ping said casually. He held Lu Rulan's little hand and walked into the Inheritance Hall as if it was his own home. TSKSK, so this is the legendary Soul Palace Inheritance Palace. It doesn't look like much, not even as big as my home. The decorations are a bit too simple and crude, not at all dazzling in gold or jade. There's no grandeur at all. He commented on the place. In reality, the inheritance hall wasn't big. It was just a large hall with empty surroundings. There was only a massive black stone tablet standing in the center of the inheritance hall. There were countless ancient words engraved on it, seeming to contain the mysteries of the universe. Lines after lines appeared like galaxies, as if the entire universe was hidden within, deep and unfathomable. Tour. The few Soul Palace elders present were so angry their faces turned green. Just where did this playboy come from? What did he think Soul Palace Inheritance Hall was? Was it a place he could visit whenever he wanted? Moreover, he looked down on the Inheritance Hall's simple appearance, saying it wasn't as big as his own home. Motherfucker, the most important thing in Inheritance Hall was the Inheritance Tablet. That was the true foundation of a superfaction. It was the torch that allowed Soul Palace to be passed down for countless tens of thousands of years. What did it have to do with the size of this place? Moreover, he had even brought a woman with him to visit this place. He had even walked in impolitely, not caring whether these Soul Palace elders agreed or not. Seeing this bastard's attitude, he seemed to treat Soul Palace as his own home. Bringing his own woman to tour, he didn't respect this extremely important place of Soul Palace at all. Perhaps, if they didn't mind, this fellow might even want to do it with the woman here. Bastard, who told you could tour around Soul Palace? Which idiot allowed you to come here? Don't you know that trespassing into Inheritance Hall is a heavy crime? A light punishment is 100 years in prison, and a heavy punishment is death on the spot. The gray-robed elder stared angrily at Xia Ping. The other elders were also very angry, their faces dark. This happened too suddenly, and Xia Ping's actions were too brazen. Adding on the fact that Soul Palace hadn't welcomed an intruder in thousands of years, they didn't expect this fellow in front of them to be an outer realm evil devil. Is it that serious? I'm a person with a backer. Xia Ping indicated that his background was very deep. As expected, he was a playboy. Seeing this fellow act as if it was a matter of course, the gray-robed elder and the others were so angry their lungs almost exploded. In Soul Palace, who didn't have a backer? Any random rock that smashed someone could be a Soul Palace elder, or a direct descendant of a large family with a noble status. With just this brat, he dared to be arrogant in front of Soul Palace elders, bragging about having a backer and being unrestrained. This fellow was probably used to acting like a tyrant in his own family. Even after coming to Soul Palace's Great Palace, he still didn't change his personality. He even thought that Soul Palace's Great Palace could let him do whatever he wanted. Backmias, I want to see which bastard dares to be this arrogant and act as if nothing happened after breaking Soul Palace's rules. Even if you're the son of Soul Palace's palace master, you can't escape today. No one can save you. The gray-robed elder and the others were bursting with anger. They had already decided to heavily punish this playboy. Otherwise, if everyone did this, what rules would Soul Palace have? Just at this moment, Xia Ping suddenly attacked. He took out a glass bottle from his spatial ring and smashed it on the ground. Immediately, a red mist emanated from the glass bottle, quickly spreading through the entire Inheritance Hall. This red mist was the cultivation-dissolving poison Xia Ping obtained from Chen Wei. This poison had the effect of dissolving a person's strength, and it could also quickly take effect. What? Chapter 1189. Not good. This mist is poisonous and can't be inhaled. The gray-robed elder and the others were shocked. They immediately felt that after inhaling the poison mist, their strength quickly disappeared. It was as if all their years of cultivation had disappeared. Such an abnormality terrified them. As divine ability realm cultivators, they were already used to overturning mountains and seas. After inhaling the poison mist, all their years of cultivation disappeared and they became ordinary people. Such a change terrified them to the extreme. However, this cultivation-dissolving poison's medicinal effects were incomparably tyrannical. If they inhaled even a little, they wouldn't be able to escape without an antidote. Even divine ability realm cultivators were the same. Dong dong dong. Their bodies were extremely weak, and they were like dead fish that lacked water. All of them fell to the ground, and they didn't have the slightest bit of strength in their bodies. Even raising a finger was extremely difficult. No, you're not from Soul Palace. Who are you? At this moment, the gray-robed elder and the others all stared angrily at Xia Ping. How could they not know that the two people in front of them weren't Soul Palace playboys? True playboys didn't have the guts or strength to attack Soul Palace elders. This fellow did not come to this place by accident. He had come for them, for the Hall of Inheritance. However, it was already too late for them to realize this. You don't need to know. Have a good sleep. Xia Ping instantly attacked. Immediately, a dozen figures appeared in this space and quickly arrived beside the gray-robed elder and the others. With a light hand knife, they struck their necks. With a put-ong sound, they immediately fell unconscious on the ground. They would need at least 3 days to wake up. All right, it's all done now. Xia Ping clapped his hands. He was very satisfied. He even closed the door of the inheritance hall so that the soldiers who passed by would not notice what happened inside. Lu Rulan was shocked. One had to know that those were 5 or 6 divine ability realm cultivators, and they were even Soul Palace elders. Yet they were so easily dealt with without any effort. Though this was with the help of the mysterious poison mist, this was reality. This was a battle. Why would the enemy give you a fair chance? Of course, you had to use whatever methods you had. By the way, how can we receive the inheritance of the Soul Tribe? Xia Ping tied up the group of people and turned to ask Lu Rulan. Lu Rulan was stunned. She did not expect things to go so smoothly. However, if Xia Ping hadn't obtained Chen Wei's cultivation nullifying poison, it wouldn't have been so easy for him to deal with these divine tier cultivators. He had to thank Chen Wei for personally delivering such a treasure to him. She thought for a moment, then said, "As long as you place your hand on the inheritance tablet, then use your divine sense to communicate with the inheritance tablet, you will be able to receive the inheritance instilled by the inheritance tablet. However, this is my soul race's inheritance tablet. Since ancient times, no outsider has ever touched it. I'm not sure if the inheritance tablet can be used by outsiders." It was her first time encountering such a situation. Then let's give it a try. Xia Ping was a bold man. He gently placed his right hand on the inheritance monument while circulating his spiritual consciousness and penetrating it into the inheritance monument. Buzz, at that moment, the entire legacy steel trembled and emitted a black light. Like an energy barrier, it spread out in all directions and covered the entire legacy palace. Even Lu Rulan was affected by it. Soon after, a mechanical voice came from the inheritance tablet. "Beep beep. The person receiving the inheritance is a male. He's not from the soul race. After inspection, the quality of his soul is extremely high. Beep beep, there's also a female nearby. She's from the soul race. She has a heavenly soul body and the quality of her soul is extremely high. You've met the requirements for the inheritance. Please accept the inheritance." Boom! Immediately, a terrifying energy exploded from the inheritance tablet, enveloping Xia Ping and Lu Rulan. What? Xia Ping was shocked. He could feel that the energy was extremely powerful. It wasn't something he could resist at the moment. With a bang, Xia Ping and Lu Rulan were enveloped by the energy. The two of them hugged each other tightly, leaving almost no space between them. Lu Rulan blushed. She could feel an extremely strong masculine aura from Xia Ping's body. She had never been so close to a man in her life, let alone such an intimate contact. One must know that she was the Soul Palace's saintess and was once known as the #1 beauty in the Blood Soul mainland. Ordinary men would never have the chance to get close to her. It was difficult for her to even look at him. The current situation was simply unprecedented. Whoosh! In the next second, the inheritance tablet shot out 2 beams of black light, hitting Xia Ping and Lu Rulan's heads respectively. A huge amount of information surged into their brains. Telepathy skill. Xia Ping and Lu Rulan immediately knew that it was a supreme spiritual secret skill given to them by the inheritance tablet. However, Lu Rulan's face was as red as a tomato. Her face was almost ripe. Although the secret skill sounded nice, in essence, it was a skill for dual cultivation of the soul. The Blood Soul Saint had obtained the secret skill from an ancient ruin. It had endless uses and was suitable for couples to cultivate. Once the cultivation was successful, the two of them would reach the state of telepathy. Due to the merging of yin and yang, the man and the woman would continuously increase the energy and purity of their souls. Their cultivation speed would increase by leaps and bounds. They would even be able to communicate with each other mentally and comprehend the martial arts experience that the other party had obtained, improving each other. It was a terrifying effect. It was said that the skill was created by an invincible saint in ancient times. Back then, he had a harem of 3,000 beauties, and every single one of them was a goddess with peerless potential. Using this skill, the great martial emperor and the 3,000 beauties quickly learned the remarkable martial arts skills of the 3,000 goddesses, saving him a lot of time and effort. This was equivalent to having thousands of doppelgangers assisting him in his cultivation. However, the requirements for this secret skill were extremely high. Both the man and the woman had to have peerless potential in order to cultivate it. Even a slight difference would not work. Therefore, the inheritance tablet detected that both of them had peerless potential, and it was a man and a woman. They perfectly fulfilled the conditions for the telepathy skill to be inherited. This was a coincidence that only happened after many years. Oh no! Xia Ping and Lu Rulan could not help but immerse themselves in the supreme skill. The skill automatically circulated and they succeeded in cultivating it in an instant. Both of their hands and feet were pressed against each other. Boom! Both of their bodies shook. Vaguely, sounds of Tao could be heard from the void. Both of their souls seemed to have flown out of their bodies and rose into the air. At that moment, Xia Ping and Lu Rulan's souls were in the most primitive and naked state. This was the essence of yin and yang, and both of them could not help but be attracted to each other and entangled with each other. Lu Rulan's long legs, slim waist, and smooth skin were especially attractive. Even though she was in the state of her soul, her radiance was irresistible. She was the #1 beauty of the Blood Soul mainland. No, don't. Chapter 1190. What is this feeling? Xia Ping felt incredibly wondrous. Dual cultivation at the soul level was many times more advanced than physical cultivation. It seemed to be a fusion of essence, a clash of souls. His soul was originally in a pure yang state. Now, it merged with Lu Rulan's heavenly soul avatar. Yin and yang merged into one, forming the shape of the universe. The two complemented each other. His soul gave off wisps of black aura that seemed to be quickly expelled. The impurities in the depths of his soul were all expelled under this state of cultivation, reaching a pure state. This also made his soul even more condensed and indestructible. Lu Rulan also felt incredibly wondrous. She felt as if she had entered her mother's embrace and was in the amniotic fluid state. Her entire body was warm and incomparably warm. She felt an unprecedented peace of mind. Her heavenly soul avatar seemed to have been completely developed and sublimated. Her soul energy increased at an unprecedented rate, even faster than her 18 years of cultivation. In the state of telepathy, she could even feel the wisps of martial truth in Xia Ping's mind. This gave her great inspiration, as if she was in a state of enlightenment. Under such circumstances, her understanding of martial arts had reached an unprecedented height. The two continued to cultivate. As their soul energy increased, their bodies turned into two huge whirlpools. Vast amounts of yuan qi of the universe surged in. Their magic power was also rapidly increasing. A day passed in the blink of an eye. At this moment, in the inheritance hall of the Soul Hall, Xia Ping sat cross-legged on the ground. After a day and night of cultivation and dual cultivation with Lu Rulan, both had completely grasped telepathy and reached the state of yin and yang fusion. This brought great benefits to Xia Ping. He sat on the ground like a golden sun. His entire body gave off blinding light that seemed to dye the entire inheritance hall gold. It was incomparably dazzling, as if it was forged from gold. If anyone was in the inheritance hall, they would definitely be shocked. At this moment, Xia Ping's consciousness power was like flames that could burn people. It was like an eternal divine furnace that contained inextinguishable flames. His soul was almost tangible. Waves of heat rolled and surged, seemingly turning this place into a sea of fire. Late stage of the fulfillment realm. After cultivating with Lu Rulon, Xia Ping obtained great benefits. He finally crossed the threshold of the middle stage of the fulfillment realm and ascended to the late stage of the fulfillment realm. In fact, because he had the heart resonance art, his consciousness power and magic power were continuously increasing. After refining the medicinal power inside his body, he actually broke through again and directly reached the peak of the fulfillment realm. He was only one step away from divine tier. Once he comprehended a martial path god art and condensed a god art talisman, he would be able to truly step into the god art realm. Only by reaching this realm could one be considered to have a certain level of combat power in the universe. They could be called high-level cannon fodder, and their combat power would be much stronger than before. At this moment, 2,000 of the golden crow hell cells in his body were quickly unsealed, and they were constantly being absorbed into his body. The majestic golden crow hell energy was like magma, flowing around his meridians. This also made Xia Ping's physique even stronger than before. Each and every one of his movements contained the power of a divine beast. A light punch of his created wind that was enough to crush a small mountain. Lu Rulon's benefits were even greater. She had also ascended to the peak of the fulfillment realm, and her soul energy was many times stronger than before. She sat where she was, and her body emitted a holy light like a goddess. At this moment, the two of them opened their eyes at the same time. They finally woke up from their cultivation state. The power that the heritage tablet placed on them had long disappeared without a trace. Having just woken up, Lu Rulon's pretty face was flushed, and her beautiful eyes were extremely shy. She resisted the urge to push away Xia Ping, who was still sticking to her, and her body was trembling slightly. Her slender legs, slender waist, and exquisite curves made her seem otherworldly. Her appearance was devastatingly beautiful, and she exuded boundless charm. If other men were to see her, they would probably go crazy. There was no male animal that wouldn't bow down to her pomegranate skirt. How did this happen? Lu Rulon's beautiful eyes were watery, and her body was trembling. She was extremely shy as she recalled what happened yesterday, and her temperament changed as well. She seemed to have turned from a young lady to a young master. This was because the cultivation of the telepathy art was too intimate. Even family members would not be this close. This was a dual cultivation of the soul. They interacted with each other, and they could share some of each other's secrets and feelings. It could be said that there was no more intimate contact in the world than this, even between a husband and wife. Although they did not have any physical contact, if they were to be calculative, she would have lost her chastity to this bastard a long time ago. Furthermore, he had cultivated for a day and a night, and performed countless techniques. Lu Rulon was extremely embarrassed when she thought about this bastard's flexible and endless techniques during cultivation. Just how many women did this bastard fuck to know so much? Just how many concubines did he have around him? It was said that there were countless planets in the universe, and the number of demons was as numerous as carps crossing the river. This bastard couldn't have owned a planet's women, could he? Sigh, humans make mistakes and horses stumble. I've been hunting wild geese all day, but I never expected to be pecked in the eye by a wild geese. I never expected that I, Xia Ping, would have such a day. I was actually fucked by a woman. What a great humiliation. Xia Ping roared into the sky. There seemed to be a trace of tears at the corner of his eyes. He was like a pretty boy who had been captured by a female bandit king, and had been ravaged by the female king for an entire night. He was in so much pain that he wished he were dead. What did you say? Lu Rulon's beautiful eyes were spitting fire as she glared at Xia Ping. Dual cultivation with a great beauty like her was the lifelong dream of countless men. Such a good thing would definitely be emitting smoke from their ancestors' graves. However, this bastard was even saying that humans make mistakes, and horses stumble. He made it seem as if she had raped this man. As the Soul Palace Saintess, she had seen many cunning and ruthless people. However, this was the first time she had seen such a shameless man. What do you want? You can't be thinking of forcefully taking me, right? Xia Ping looked at Lu Rulan with a bit of fear. It was as if he was looking at a super bastard. Who wants to forcefully take you? Stop dreaming. Lu Rulan was so angry that she was spitting fire. She wanted to bite this pervert to death. Don't try to hide it. I could tell with a glance that you wanted to take me. Chapter 1191. Gangster. Who doesn't know that you're a super liar? Lu Rulan spat at Xia Ping. Through the dual cultivation, she also knew the true face of this bastard. He was not called Master Potato at all. Even his previous appearance was a disguise. He was a shameless liar. The appearance could be changed, but the soul could not. Therefore, she knew some information about Xia Ping. For example, he was born on planet Yen Huang, came from the Cloud Realm, became the last disciple of the Heaven and Earth Sex Saint, and had a distinguished status. Of course, she had no way of knowing the core information. After all, these were secrets in the depths of the soul. If Xia Ping did not want others to know, she would not be able to find out. It could be said that from the beginning to the end, this bastard did not say a word of truth. If it was not for the accident this time and they had unintentionally dual cultivation, she would still be in the dark and did not know anything. However, through this dual cultivation, Lu Rulan also deeply understood how terrifying this bastard named Xia Ping was. His soul power was more than 10 times stronger than the cultivators of the same realm from the Soul Clan. His soul power was like the sun, and it could burn any enemy to death. If any cultivator from the Soul Clan dared to attack Xia Ping, they would definitely die without a burial place. This was a monster from the depths of the universe, a disciple of a saint with unfathomable cultivation and peerless talent that others could never hope to achieve. Xia Ping wanted to say something, but suddenly the heritage tablet shook again and a mechanical voice was heard. The telepathic heart skill has been successfully cultivated. Clansman Lu Rulan meets the requirements of the heritage. Immediately teleport to the Holy Land to accept the final heritage of the Holy Land. Boom. In the next second, a black light instantly enveloped Lu Rulan's body. Suddenly, a complicated teleportation formation appeared under her feet, and densely packed lines appeared. These lines seemed to be engraved in the void. They were the imprints of Tao and were unfathomable. What's going on? Xia Ping did not react and did not know what was going on. Lu Rulan exclaimed. She felt that her body seemed to be wrapped by a force. It was an irresistible force. Her entire body disappeared on the spot, and she did not know where she had been teleported to. Heritage tablet, what's going on? Xia Ping stared at the heritage tablet. He knew that the heritage tablet seemed to be a magic treasure with an artifact spirit. It was definitely not a dead object. If you don't say anything, don't blame me for being rude. Xia Ping squinted his eyes, emitting a dense killing intent as he stared at the inheritance steel. If it still dared to pretend that it couldn't speak, he wouldn't mind personally destroying it. As if sensing the murderous intent in the air, the heritage monument said, "Don't worry, she is fine. She has passed the test and fulfilled the requirements of the Blood Soul Saint's inheritance, so she has been sent to the sacred land to receive the final inheritance. She has become the Blood Soul Saint's designated successor." Holy Land? Where is the Holy Land? Xia Ping asked. The inheritance tablet replied, "No comment. However, it is not in the Blood Soul continent, but in a certain corner of the universe. It is mysterious and unfathomable, and even the saints would not be able to find it. It is the true lair of the Blood Soul Saint." Xia Ping stroked his chin. Since Lu Rulan had been chosen as the successor of the Blood Soul Saint, logically speaking, there should not be any major issues with her safety. He looked at the inheritance steel and asked, "I've also successfully cultivated the art of telepathy. Why didn't I receive the Blood Soul Saint's inheritance? Isn't this discrimination? You are not a member of the soul race." The inheritance tablet's tone was cold, indicating that only members of the soul race had the right to receive the Blood Soul Saint's inheritance. Forget it then. Do you have any other soul secret skills? If you do, give me a few. I will repay you in the future. Xia Ping still wanted to obtain more soul secret skills from the inheritance tablet. Outsiders do not have the right to receive the soul race's soul secret skills. Being able to obtain the art of telepathy is already a great fortune. Outsider, you should be content. The inheritance tablet seemed to despise Xia Ping's insatiable greed. Alright, if you don't have a few, then one will do. For example, the Blood Soul Saint's control secret skill that could enslave other saints. I wonder if you have it? If you teach it to me, I will definitely make this secret skill shine in the future and spread the name of the Blood Soul Saint. Xia Ping was still unwilling to give up and wanted to receive the supreme inheritance. Outsider, this is the highest secret of the soul race. It cannot be leaked. You should just give up. The inheritance tablet was speechless. It felt that it had underestimated the skin of this outsider. He even wanted to obtain the Blood Soul Saint's core method. It was simply a dream. One had to know that even if many saints joined forces and paid a huge price, they still could not obtain the core inheritance of the Blood Soul Saint. How could it leak this secret skill? That was a top secret skill that only the direct descendants of the Blood Soul Saint were qualified to learn. Can't leak it? That means you really do have it. Xia Ping narrowed his eyes. The inheritance tablet immediately shut up. It felt that it had been too talkative and leaked a lot of information. However, it had not spoken for a long time. It could not help but say a few more words when it met someone who was qualified to communicate with it. It had been careless just now. System, is there any way to obtain the mystery inside this inheritance tablet? Xia Ping immediately asked the system in the depths of his mind. There was no way to obtain the inheritance through ordinary means. Everything depended on this almost omnipotent system to have a glimmer of hope. That's simple. The system replied, if you want to obtain the final inheritance in this inheritance tablet, you need to spend 800 million hatred points, 800 million hatred points. Xia Ping's eyes revealed a glimmer of light. If he could get the core secret skill of the Blood Soul Saint, a mere 800 million hatred points would be worth it. Okay, spend 800 million hatred points immediately. Xia Ping immediately said. The system said, please place your right hand on the inheritance tablet, and the system will immediately deprive it of the inheritance knowledge. Xia Ping immediately placed his right hand on the inheritance tablet. Outsider, what are you trying to do? Even if you put it on top, you will not get any inheritance. Please leave quickly. The inheritance tablet dissuaded Xia Ping, hoping that the other party would not do useless work. But in the next second, it suddenly felt an irresistible force surging in. It was like a supreme god, incomparably domineering, directly breaking through its internal defenses. It seemed that any array defense in its body was quickly destroyed like paper. Outsider, what have you done to me? The inheritance tablet was shocked. It was the first time it had encountered such a thing. This power seemed to be supreme, even more terrifying than the saints. It was simply unimaginable. It was not in the same dimension at all. In the next second, it felt that its spiritual mind was in a trance. Some of the inheritance in the depths of the inheritance tablet seemed to be directly taken away. It felt as if it was missing some memories. In order to condense a soul seal, one needed to split a portion of their soul force. This would cause them to suffer quite a bit of damage, so the number of soul seals that could be condensed was limited. If there were no restrictions, the Blood Soul Saint would have long been invincible and become the master of all the sages. Secondly, the soul power of the being enslaved couldn't be stronger than the owner. Otherwise, the soul imprint would collapse in an instant, and the owner would suffer a backlash. Thus, the slaves who accepted the soul seal had to be carefully selected and carefully considered. If they weren't a powerful being with endless potential, they simply didn't have the qualifications to accept the soul seal. Even so, this was still a rather terrifying mind-controlling secret technique. If he used it properly, it would bring him great benefits. For example, controlling a divine beast cub with limitless potential, the leader of a superpower, or a sage. In any case, this was a terrifying trump card that countless sages feared. It was classified as a forbidden power, and no one was allowed to come into contact with it. Once they were discovered, they would immediately be wanted by the saints of the entire universe and become the greatest evildoer of the world. However, the power of the soul seal was extremely secretive. It was hidden deep within the soul, and it wasn't easy to discover it. This soul seal sure has many uses. Xia Ping's eyes lit up. This secret technique enslaving living beings was just one of its terrifying powers. In reality, it had many other uses. For example, it could leave a soul seal on the enemy. Then, no matter where the enemy escaped to, it could be tracked. Therefore, all the enemies who offended the Blood Soul Saint would be captured and killed. None of them were spared. Other than that, it could also form a mind seal to protect the soul and memories of the user, preventing enemies who were proficient in mind power secret techniques from harming the user. Of course, there were many other uses that Xia Ping hadn't discovered yet. This was just the tip of the iceberg. This soul seal secret technique is quite terrifying. I wonder who else will obtain it. Xia Ping also understood why the other sages were so afraid of the Blood Soul Saint. It would be great if he could control it. However, if it was controlled by the enemy, it would be quite terrifying. Perhaps unknowingly, the person closest to him or her would be controlled by the enemy, turning into a traitor and stabbing him or her in the back at a critical moment. This was something that no one could stand. Don't worry, host. The soul seal secret technique on this inheritance tablet has been taken away by the system. No one can obtain the soul seal secret technique from the inheritance tablet. The system said, however, there may be other places where the soul seal secret technique is passed down. This is unknown. Amazing. Xia Ping was convinced. The system in his body was indeed powerful. This inheritance tablet could be considered a secret treasure. Its level probably surpassed that of a spirit weapon. Ordinary forces couldn't harm it at all, and it had an indestructible characteristic. However, facing the system, it had no way to resist and was easily deprived of its inheritance knowledge. The other party seemed to have lost his memory and didn't even know that he had such a secret technique. Since I've obtained the Soul Seal secret technique, it's about time. I should leave Soul Palace. Otherwise, if I'm discovered by other experts of Soul Palace, it'll be troublesome. Xia Ping decided to leave Soul Palace. Originally, he wanted to obtain more secret techniques from the inheritance tablet, but the inheritance tablet didn't seem to allow these secret techniques to be taught to outsiders. Moreover, in order to obtain the Soul Seal, he had spent a total of 800 million hatred points. Now, he only had 80 million hatred points left. Therefore, he didn't have any hatred points to deprive the inheritance tablet of any secret techniques. As for Lu Rulon, she was also teleported to the Holy Land of Soul Clan. It was estimated that she was safe. He couldn't find her in a short time, so he had to leave the Blood Soul continent alone. Thinking of this, Xia Ping quickly left the inheritance hall, then took the teleportation formation and returned to Huining City. Has it been successful? At this moment, Corinne also left the valley and took away a large number of soul stones quietly without anyone noticing. Then, he went to Huining City to meet Xia Ping. It's a success. Let's leave the Blood Soul continent. Xia Ping smiled slightly. He had gained a lot from this mission. Not only did he get the Soul Seal secret technique, but he also got a large number of soul stones. Even a sage would be jealous of his harvest this time. That's good. Corinne nodded. Boom, an hour later, a spaceship rose from a secret place, and Xia Ping and Corinne quickly left the Blood Soul continent. Chapter 1193. Look, the barrier's power seems to have weakened. At that moment, countless soul race experts had gathered in the valley. They were extremely nervous as they paid close attention to the situation inside the barrier. Some of them were very sensitive and immediately noticed that the barrier seemed to be different from before. It seemed to have weakened significantly and was not as strong and indestructible as before. Yeah, it really is. Is the Blood Soul Saint's seal about to be broken? That's very likely. It's been 2 days. It's normal for the seal to weaken. We'll probably see the blood soul saint reappear in another day. But we didn't catch those foreign fiends and didn't complete the ancestor's orders. Will the ancestor be angry? How magnanimous is the ancestor? How could he be angry? Yeah, let's wait and see. We'll be able to see the ancestor reappear soon. The crowd grew excited. They were unable to contain their emotions when they thought about how the blood soul saint was about to come out of the spirit formation space once the seal was removed. After all, the blood soul saint was a legend. Basically, everyone in the soul race had grown up listening to the stories of the blood soul saint. He was a mythical figure. Chang Shishing and the others were slightly perturbed instead. Because they'd mobilized so many forces earlier and moved out in full force, yet they were unable to capture those xenorace fiends and allowed them to vanish without a trace. This was an extraordinary humiliation. They didn't know what the blood soul saint would think of this. If he would punish them heavily, they would be in trouble. But a day quickly passed, and the barrier was still intact. There was not even the slightest movement. Some people were very nervous. What's going on? Didn't the ancestors say that it would only take 3 days to break the seal? It's already been 3 days. Why is there no movement at all? It can't be that he failed to break the seal, right? Impossible. Even if he failed, there should be some movement. At the very least, the ancestor inside the barrier should have informed us. Don't try to scare us. Someone immediately retorted. If that's the case, why is there no movement now? Even if you failed, you could have told us, the man said in a deep voice. He felt that something was wrong. Chang Shishing and the others also nodded. They also felt that something was wrong. I don't think we can continue waiting here. There's no point in waiting like this. A hot-tempered man said, why don't we help as well? The great ancestor is breaking the seal inside the enchantment while we attack the enchantment from the outside. If we work together, won't the speed of breaking the seal be faster? It's still not right. Who knows what's going on with this seal? If you attack recklessly and cause the seal to become more troublesome and hurt the ancestor, can you at least bear this responsibility? Someone berated. Forget it. If you don't dare to come, I will. A middle-aged man dressed in black stood out and punched the barrier. Originally, he was already prepared for the consequences of being struck back by the spirit formation, and was also completely prepared for it. However, he did not expect that his fist would actually directly pierce through the entire spirit formation space. With a whooshing sound, his entire body disappeared into it. What? Everyone was dumbfounded and looked at each other. They had no idea what was going on. Clearly, they couldn't break this spirit formation space even when they joined forces. Now they actually entered it so easily. It was too incredible. Maybe the great ancestor has broken the seal. Let's go in and take a look. Chang Shishing immediately realized that this spirit formation was different from before. He took the lead and walked into the spirit formation space. Whooshing! Whooshing! The others also looked at each other and entered the space one after another. Immediately, the figures of Chang Shishing and the others appeared in the space. Is this the inside of the spirit formation space? What's going on? Where is the great ancestor? Everyone entered and looked around. They found that there was no one in this space. Not to mention the figure of the great ancestor, there was not even a single person. Moreover, this space was only so big, and there was no place to hide people. If there's no one, how did those notes appear before? Who took them out? Someone was puzzled. Could it be that what happened before was an illusion? Was it a supernatural event? That's right, where are the soul stones? We threw so many soul stones in, but why haven't we seen a single one? Did we see a ghost? A soul palace elder shouted. Not only could they not find anyone, they couldn't even find a soul stone. It was too strange. Wait, there seems to be a few words written on the desk. Immediately, someone found a line of words left on the desk in a study room. When many people heard these words, they quickly moved forward and looked at it. Immediately, they saw the words written on it. Master Mutato has come here to visit. Many thanks to the Soul Clan brothers for the soul stones. This great kindness will never be forgotten. I will definitely repay it in the future. Master Mutato, why is this name so familiar? I seem to have heard it somewhere before. A baldy rubbed his head. Stupid. Someone next to him cursed and slapped his bald head. Of course I'm familiar with him. Isn't this Master Mateto the murderer who killed Temple Master Chang's son? Isn't he a ferocious and inhumane demon from the outer domain? That baldy was stunned on the spot, but he quickly remembered what happened 3 days ago. Fuck, why is he thanking us? He's an outer realm evil devil, the target of our soul race's pursuit. Someone was still stunned, not knowing what happened. You still don't understand. We've been tricked. The person in this barrier space isn't the old ancestor, but this outer realm evil devil Master Mateto. That bastard impersonated the old ancestor's identity. A soul palace elder shouted in grief and indignation. Seeing the message, how could he not know that they were all tricked by this Master Mateto like idiots? Many people around him also realized, and their faces turned green, as if their wives had cheated on them. No way, then what about the soul stones we threw in? Where did the 200,000 to 300,000 soul stones go? Someone yelled, that's 300,000 soul stones, piled up like a small mountain. How can he carry it all by himself? Isn't he afraid of bursting? He really didn't understand. 300,000 soul stones. Even if a person had 3 heads and 6 arms, they wouldn't be able to carry that much. That was equivalent to carrying a small mountain while walking. With such a large commotion, there was no way they didn't notice. Do you even need to ask? He's an outer realm evil devil. It said that these evil devils all have a treasure called spatial ring that can store large amounts of things. I reckon that bastard put the soul stones in the spatial ring and took them away. Chapter 1194. Spatial Ring. Many people from the soul race nodded. They had fought with the extraterrestrial fiends for many years and fought countless battles. Naturally, they knew about treasures like spatial rings. Some of them had even collected some. Of course, it was impossible for everyone to have one like the extraterrestrial fiends. Only the higher-ups of the Soul Palace or the elders of some big families had the qualifications to have one. However, a spatial ring space was still limited. It could not store 300,000 soul stones at once. That was why they were careless and did not think of this. That's not right. Someone shouted, even if he has many spatial rings and can take away 300,000 soul stones, the problem is where did he escape from? You have to know that the experts of our soul race have locked down the area within 100 miles. Even a fly can fly by and we will know clearly. How did he escape? Everyone nodded. It was also because of this that they were not worried that the person inside the barrier was a fake. After all, almost all the elites of the soul race were gathered in this place. There were countless divinity realm cultivators. They had also surrounded the barrier. How could the other party escape? Moreover, they were not worried about the strength of the person inside the barrier. In the Blood Soul continent, no matter how strong one's cultivation was, they would be suppressed to below divinity realm by the laws of heaven and earth. Unless the other party was the Blood Soul Saint who created the Blood Soul continent, he could break through the restrictions of the laws of heaven and earth. Otherwise, even Thunder Calamity Realm cultivators could not break through the restrictions. Therefore, under the suppression of absolute strength, they were full of confidence in themselves. If the other party was a fake, they would definitely let the other party know why the flowers were so red. However, they did not expect that the other party was not only a fake, but also disguised as the Blood Soul Saint. Moreover, he had silently escaped from their encirclement and disappeared without a trace. This made them furious. Underground tunnel. There's an underground tunnel here. That son of a bitch escaped from here. Someone quickly discovered that there was a big hole under the barrier. This big hole was bottomless. Some soul race cultivators immediately went in and found that the underground tunnel was hundreds of meters deep and stretched for hundreds of kilometers. It led to another place far away from the valley. It was estimated that Master Mateto used this underground tunnel to escape without being discovered by anyone. After all, no matter how powerful their divine sense was, it was impossible for them to perceive the place hundreds of meters underground. Moreover, no one had the awareness to explore the underground world all the time. Therefore, Master Mateto escaped from the valley without anyone noticing. My God, how was this underground tunnel dug out? The project is too huge. He actually dug a tunnel hundreds of kilometers long to escape. That Master Mateto is simply a madman. The group of people were dumbfounded. They couldn't imagine how much work it would take to build an underground tunnel that stretched for hundreds of kilometers. Even if tens of thousands of people worked at the same time, it would still take several months. Just how much effort did that guy put into setting up this trap? However, they did not know that digging this underground tunnel was not a difficult task for Xia Ping. Or rather, it was child's play for the golden slimes. In just one day, it had completed the tunnel, swallowing up a large amount of soil, sand, and stones. If it was given enough time, it could even hollow out the entire planet. Bastard Mateto, I definitely won't forgive him. 300,000 soul stones were stolen by this bastard just like that. Not even a strand of hair was left. So greedy, isn't he afraid of being stuffed to death? The Soul Palace Elder's face turned green from anger. His heart ached terribly. 300,000 soul stones was an unimaginably huge sum in the Blood Soul continent. Even a super family's wealth was only this much. Even when those outer realm evil devils came to the Blood Soul continent, in order to complete a mission, they would only be able to leave this place alive with a dozen soul stones. But now, that bastard stole 300,000 soul stones. This was practically cutting off their flesh and drinking their blood. Stuffed to death, that bastard doesn't know how great it is. He even dared to cheat 300,000 soul stones. How can there be such a swindler in this world? Shameless, using our concern for the old ancestor to cheat our pure feelings. He is shameless. Where is the basic trust between people? As expected of the outer realm evil devils. None of them have the slightest sense of propriety or shame. They have no morals. Goddamn Mateto, I curse his son to be born without a PII. Many soul race experts cursed and wanted to spit on Xia Ping to vent the anger in their hearts. Everyone felt a sense of anger at being fooled. If Xia Ping appeared in this place, he would definitely be torn to pieces by the angry crowd, and not even his dregs would be left. Mateto, I'm going to kill you. With a dong sound, Soul Palace's palace master Chang Shishing was infuriated. He slammed his palm on the desk, immediately shattering the wooden desk into pieces. A berserk aura emanated from his body. That bastard evil devil not only killed his son, but also swindled 300,000 soul stones from the Blood Soul continent. This was an irreconcilable enmity. There was probably no one here who was angrier than him. The surrounding people could feel the anger in Chang Shishing's heart. He was like a glaring Vajra, wanting to kill all the demons and ghosts. If God stood in his way, he would kill God. If Buddha stood in his way, he would kill Buddha. Report. Suddenly, a Soul Palace scout quickly came from afar and arrived next to Chang Shishing. His expression was panicked and he was panting as if something big had happened. Aren't you the guard captain of Soul Palace's main palace? Why aren't you guarding the main palace? Did something big happen in the main palace? A Soul Palace elder immediately recognized the person. Chang Shishing and the others' hearts tightened. They felt that something big had happened. That person immediately yelled, "Palace Lord, seniors, main palace is in big trouble." The Inheritance Palace was invaded by the outer realm evil devils. Many Soul Palace elders were knocked unconscious on the ground. If it wasn't because we felt that the Inheritance Palace had been quiet for a long time and sent a guard to check, we wouldn't even know that something big happened in the Inheritance Palace. What? Everyone was shocked. If losing 300,000 soul stones was just an external loss, it wasn't much. After all, there were many soul stones in the Blood Soul continent and it could be recovered sooner or later. Chapter 1195. What's going on? Did something big happen in Inheritance Palace? Many Soul Palace elders nervously looked at this guard. They instinctively felt that something big had happened. Inheritance Palace was no small matter. They couldn't afford to be careless at all. On the surface, it looks like nothing happened. A few elders are just unconscious and didn't receive much damage. However, I feel that our Soul Palace's secret technique might have been stolen. The guard said in a low voice. His face was extremely gloomy. How do you know it was stolen? Even if the Inheritance Palace was broken in, the Inheritance Tablet is our Soul Race's secret treasure. If it wasn't a Soul Race person, he couldn't have received the inheritance. Someone asked. The guard's face was very strange, but he still said, because the little thief wrote a line of words on the Inheritance Palace's wall. Truly disappointing. Soul Palace's defense is nothing more than this. I've taken away the Soul Race secret technique. As a memento, I've signed it as Master Wu Taidu. What? Master Wu Taidu? Hearing this, everyone was shocked and jumped in fright. They simply couldn't believe their ears. They all stared closely at this guard. Especially Palace Master Chang Shishing. His eyes looked like he wanted to eat someone. His killing intent soared and pierced through the heavens. Yeah, Master Wu Taidu, do you guys know him? The guard was stared at by so many people full of killing intent. He couldn't help but feel a bit scared, as if he was being stared at by a savage beast. I know him. Even if he turns to ashes, I'll still recognize this bastard. He played the entire continent like fools. He just swindled 300,000 soul stones from us. A whole 300,000. A Soul Palace elder roared into the sky. Thinking of the 300,000 soul stones disappearing into the pockets of the outer realm evil devil, his heart ached as if someone was cutting off his flesh. 300,000 soul stones. That Soul Palace guard leader was stunned. His entire body was shaking. This was another frightening number. He couldn't even imagine how much wealth this was. It was an astronomical amount. Everyone else's faces were ashen. When they thought of how they had foolishly given these soul stones to that fiend from the outer realm, they were filled with hatred. They wanted nothing more than to slap themselves a few times. Wasn't this clearly giving money to the enemy? And they were so excited just now. When they thought of this, they wanted to dig a hole and bury themselves. They didn't want to come out and embarrass themselves. Fuck his 18 generations of ancestors. Arrogant, truly too arrogant. He stole our Soul Palace's inheritance, yet still dares to brazenly write his own name, as if he's afraid that others don't know. Just how arrogant does he want to be before he gives up? Does he think we're made of mud? Roared another Soul Palace elder. He was simply fuming with rage. He had lived for an entire 500 years, and had seen countless fiends from the outer realms. No matter how cunning or vicious they were, he had seen them all. However, they had never seen such an arrogant fiend from the outer realm who dared to write a memento after snatching their belongings. Not only that, he even left a message to thank them for their generosity. Feeling his face go numb, they wanted nothing more than to peel off his skin, pull out his tendons, chop him up, and feed him to the dogs. This was a slap to their faces. Their faces were swollen, and they could barely breathe. Every one of them felt a lifetime of humiliation. Even when they were cuckolded, they had never felt so sullen. Fuck, not only did he swindle so many soul stones from us, he even snuck into the Inheritance Palace when we left the Soul Palace and stole our Soul Race's inheritance. We can't live under the same sky as him. We can't spare him, we definitely can't spare that bastard. I swear that I will capture him and tear him into pieces. Where is that bastard? Let's set off immediately and slaughter him. We must slaughter him. From now on, Master Mutadu is the common enemy of our Soul Race. We must kill him. All of the Soul Race experts roared. Their killing intent soared, almost solidifying. Such a powerful killing intent seemed to resonate with the heavens and earth, turning the earth and sky upside down. The entire sky was covered by blood-colored clouds. Even the sun's light dimmed. Cold wind blew, and ghostly wails and wolf howls could be heard. Everyone felt a bone-chilling coldness. But that extraterritorial devil has done such a world-shaking crime. I guess he has already escaped and left the Blood Soul continent. How can we capture him? Someone said helplessly. They were being monitored by many forces in the universe. Even a fly couldn't think of leaving the Blood Soul continent. If the other party had already left the Blood Soul continent, then they could do nothing but watch him escape. Instantly, many people felt even more sullen. The most hateful thing was that they could only watch as their enemies got away scot-free without being able to do anything about it. This was truly extremely sullen. Don't worry. Chang Shishing sneered. Even if he leaves the Blood Soul continent, he won't be able to escape. Let's immediately spread the news that he has 300,000 soul stones on him. Let everyone know and let those extraterritorial devils know. At that time, the number of people who want to kill him in the universe will probably be more than the number of people in our soul race. He revealed a trace of a sinister smile. That's right. Even in the universe, a soul stone is a precious treasure. It's worth a fortune. That's right. Every year, those extraterritorial devils desperately come to the Blood Soul continent. Isn't it for soul stones? You can imagine how much they desire soul stones. That kid has 300,000 soul stones on him. If this news is known by others, those extraterritorial devils who desire soul stones will be like carps crossing the river. Even if that liar Master Mutato is powerful, 2 fists can't fight against 4 hands. He will definitely die under the endless pursuit of the army. There is no chance for him to survive. Although there is no way to kill that extraterritorial devil with our own hands, as long as he dies, we will be happy. Brilliant. This plan is really brilliant. But if this news is leaked, then it will be a great loss of face. Who cares about face? He stole our soul race's inheritance and swindled us of 300,000 soul stones. I want him dead to vent the anger in my heart. He actually dared to fool us like this. I'll definitely kill him. Yes, soul stones don't matter, but Master Mutato must die. Everyone gritted their teeth. They hated this extraterritorial devil Master Mutato to the bone. Immediately spread this news. Put up a wanted order for Master Mutato in the entire continent. Chang Shishing roared and immediately issued an order. Many Soul Palace elders shouted angrily and immediately took action. Sush, sush. They returned to Huaining City and then to every city in the world. They used the power of the entire Soul Palace to spread the news of Master Mutato's wanted. Chapter 1196. At this moment, the universe's martial artists hiding in various places of the Blood Soul continent also received the news from the Soul Palace. After all, this matter was too big, and anyone with a little bit of information would know. Master Mutato had become the most wanted criminal in the history of the Blood Soul continent. He could be called the #1 criminal. One could imagine the anger of Chang Shishing and others towards Xia Ping. My God, someone actually got a total of 300,000 soul stones from the hands of the soul race. This is really amazing. What a huge wealth this is. Someone exclaimed. After learning this news, he was simply stunned. He did not know how to calculate the value of 300,000 soul stones. He estimated that he could not earn so much money in his lifetime, but now it was easily obtained by a person. It is indeed a very amazing number. If these soul stones are sold in the universe, the money obtained is enough to not worry about food and clothing for a lifetime and cultivate to an unimaginable realm. I also got the news. It is said that the person who did this is called Master Mutato, but I don't know what his identity is. Is he a rogue cultivator or a disciple of a sacred sect? Not only did he get 300,000 soul stones, I heard that he also sneaked into the main hall of the Soul Palace and successfully stole the inheritance of the soul race. He is really rich. A group of people were envious and jealous. They could not wait to replace Master Mutato and get a total of 300,000 soul stones. In this life, they never thought that they would get such a huge wealth. Therefore, after hearing this news, everyone's eyes were red. Damn, is that group of soul race soldiers stupid? They actually let that kid come and go as he pleases, treating the Soul Palace as his own home. If I try, maybe I can also enter the Soul Palace and plunder without restraint. Wouldn't that be rich? Someone's eyes showed greed. He also wanted to imitate Master Mutato to sneak into the Soul Palace and plunder without restraint. Stupid, if it is really so simple, the Soul Palace would have been robbed long ago. Why would it wait until now? Many people had the same idea, but they are all dead. Someone despised, thinking that this was an act of courting death. He had heard countless senior brothers and sisters warn that they must not sneak into the Soul Palace, otherwise they would definitely die without a burial place. Originally, sneaking into the Blood Soul continent was an extremely dangerous thing, but to sneak into the enemy's base camp, if this was not courting death, what else could it be? Although sneaking into the Soul Palace is not possible and this behavior is also very stupid, but if we find that Master Mateto and kill this kid, then we can get 300,000 soul stones from him. Someone's eyes revealed a fierce light. They did not dare to enter the Soul Palace, but for the lone Master Mateto, it was much easier to deal with him. It was like a 3-year-old child suddenly obtaining a fortune worth hundreds of millions. It was impossible for others not to covet it. That's right, immediately find the trace of Master Mateto and snatch the 300,000 soul stones from him. If we find that kid, not only will we be able to obtain the soul stone, but we'll also be able to obtain the secret arts of the soul race. It's killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Master Mateto Palace, Mateto, Soul, Soul Palace, Soul Race, he can't escape. We also have many intelligence agents in the universe. Once we find someone selling a large number of soul stones, we can immediately find his whereabouts. He has nowhere to escape. That's right, once we find his whereabouts, the treasures on him will belong to us. Many people's eyes revealed a greedy look. Treasures moved people's hearts. Not to mention the wealth of 300,000 soul stones, it was enough to make countless experts move out to kill Master Mateto. For a time, they immediately spread the news through the universe virtual network. Ruling people everywhere, they asked to pay attention to Master Mateto who had obtained 300,000 soul stones. If his whereabouts were found, they would immediately capture him alive. In another place in the Blood Soul continent, Ling Yunsek's disciples Chang Xian, Wang Chen, Wei Qi, and Jin Zhe also received the news. Seeing that the wanted person was Master Mateto, they were all shocked. I didn't expect that after not seeing him for more than a month, Brother Mateto actually did such an earth-shattering thing, deceiving the entire Blood Soul continent and easily swindling 300,000 soul stones. It's really amazing. Chang Xian admired. However, these 300,000 soul stones are a hot potato. Once Brother Mateto shows up, he will definitely be chased by countless martial artists in the universe. A group of hungry wolves will flock to him. If he is not careful, he will cause a fatal disaster. Wang Chen saw the risk in it. If Master Mateto was a disciple of a super family, getting 300,000 soul stones was nothing. No one dared to covet it. However, Master Mateto was just a rogue cultivator. In the eyes of many people, he was a fat sheep. Maybe the Golden Core Realm experts would choose to deal with Master Mateto and snatch the soul stones. Don't worry, Brother Mateto is a smart person. Before, Fan Ming and those bastards wanted to plot against Brother Mateto, but they couldn't do anything. Instead, they were killed by Brother Mateto. Wei Qi said with admiration, "The reason why we can survive under the hands of Fan Ming and those bastards is also because of Brother Mateto's help. We are really grateful." After they woke up in a valley, they found that they were unharmed, but Xia Ping disappeared. They knew that Xia Ping definitely saved their lives. As for why Xia Ping left, it was estimated that there were unexplainable difficulties, and they didn't want to get to the bottom of it. But to be honest, don't you think this kind of deception is very familiar? It seems to be very similar to a super swindler, as if it was passed down from the same source. Jin Zhe suddenly said, "A swindler? Are you talking about Wu Wudi?" Chang Xian and others immediately exclaimed. They looked at each other and saw the horror in each other's eyes. They also thought of a big fraud case that happened a few months ago. They were cheated of more than $1 billion universe dollars, and the victims reached more than 1 million, which made countless people gnash their teeth in anger. Even the saintess of the Lingyun sect, Yi Mengyao, said that she would catch the super swindler Wu Wudi. One could imagine how evil the case that guy had committed was. Now, it was the Blood Soul continent's turn. Many of the Soul Tribe's experts had been deceived, and they had lost 300,000 soul stones. Their losses were even worse than before. Moreover, the names of the two were so similar that it was impossible not to associate them. Could it be that Wu Wudi and Master Mutato are the same person? Chang Xian couldn't help but say. They may not be the same person. They may be brothers, passed down from the same source, and come from a swindler family, Wang Chun said in a deep voice. He felt that Master Mutato and Wu Wudi were not simple. Not only were they good at deception, but their own martial strength was also extremely terrifying. They may have a shocking inheritance that was no less than a saint-level sect. This matter has nothing to do with us. Brother Mutato saved us, so he is our benefactor. Although we can't help him, we can't betray him. In short, let's keep this matter to ourselves. Chang Xian said. Chapter 1197. The incident that happened in the Blood Soul continent quickly spread to the outside world. With the spread of the virtual network, many people in the star fields ruled by the four major sects, including the Soaring Cloud sect, the Qinkuan sect, the Five Elements sect, and the Guiyuan sect, immediately got the news. After all, 300,000 soul stones was too shocking, even more shocking than winning $1 billion universe dollars. After all, soul stones were much more valuable than universe dollars. 300,000 soul stones, my God, that Master Mutato actually cheated 300,000 soul stones from the Blood Soul continent. He is simply going against the natural order, a swindler of the century. Someone exclaimed, how did he do this? Are the soul race clansmen really that stupid? Are they really going to let themselves be cheated of their soul stones and obediently give him money? He really couldn't understand this matter. Many people were secretly speechless. The soul stone was worth a lot. What was the concept of 300,000 soul stones? As poor people, their imagination was still too lacking. It was really poverty that limited their imagination. Why do I feel that this matter has a familiar smell? This kind of method seems to have appeared in the star field ruled by our Soaring Cloud sect. A Soaring Cloud sect disciple shouted, but that person is called Invincible Wu. He cheated more than $1 billion universe dollars from our Soaring Cloud sect residents on the virtual network. His behavior is quite despicable. It's outrageous. He gritted his teeth because he was also one of the victims. Thinking of the hundreds of thousands of universe dollars he was cheated of in the virtual network space, he couldn't wait to throw those shoes in Wu Wudi's face. Could it be that these two people have some connection? Some people's eyes flickered, thinking that the two names were so similar, it might not be a coincidence. Also, they must be brothers. The swindlers are brothers, twins. An uncle who had been cheated of a large sum of money by Wu Wudi cursed, damn, the swindlers are all family, brothers together. Fuck, if I catch the swindlers I will break their legs. He clenched his fists, wishing he could punch Wu Wudi and Master Mutato. Not necessarily, it's just a similar name, not necessarily a family. Maybe it's just a coincidence. Are there not many people with the same name in this world? Some people felt that it was just a similar name, not much of a relationship. Whether they are brothers or not. In short, Master Mutato has 300,000 soul stones on him. This is a huge amount of money. That's right, it is said that Master Mutato is just a rogue cultivator. Without any background, he simply can't keep this soul stone. If we can find you and kill him, those 300,000 soul stones will belong to us. Many people's eyes were filled with greed. As the saying goes, a man's wealth is his own ruin. Especially when a person without strength suddenly obtained a large amount of wealth, it would arouse the greed of countless criminals, just like how the smell of flesh and blood would attract sharks. 300,000 soul stones. If I can get my hands on them, my current cultivation base will definitely be able to break through. I might even be able to advance to the golden core stage. On a planet, an old man in gray robes sat in a quiet room. His eyes revealed a cold gleam. He had been stuck in this bottleneck for a long time, unable to break through. However, if he could obtain 300,000 soul stones, he would definitely be able to buy pills that could help him break through. Therefore, he was eager to find Master Mutato and kill him to seize his treasure. 300,000 soul stones cannot be lost. If we can get them, the power of our organization will definitely increase greatly. We will become the leader of the entire kingdom in one fell swoop. No one can stop us." A leader of a dark organization clenched his fist, murderous. The value of 300,000 soul stones was enough to revitalize an organization, but it could also easily destroy an organization. It could buy a lot of powerful weapons and even hire a lot of experts to work for him. If he could get them, his status would be like the sun in the sky. Immediately track Master Mateto, report any news about Master Mateto, no matter what the clues are, don't let it go. Countless underground forces of the universe, or people with ulterior motives, issued orders to get news about Master Mateto through various intelligence organizations. One by one, intelligence organizations took action. Countless spies walked out of the streets and alleys, covering every planet. Now it was a race. Whoever could find Master Mateto first would get this huge sum of money. No matter which force it was, they all wanted it. At this moment, in a mountain peak somewhere in the soaring cloud sect, many beautiful female disciples lived in this place, and the leader of these female disciples was undoubtedly the saintess Yi Meng Yao. Her strength was unfathomable. It was said that she had surpassed the old seniors and was comparable to the elders of the sect. "Senior sister, I received a message." A female disciple with round eyes rushed over and went to Yi Meng Yao's room to tell the news about Master Mateto. This matter caused an uproar in the surrounding star field. Countless dark forces were ready to move. All the major gangs, mercenary organizations, and even the true disciples of the major saint-level sects wanted to find Master Mateto. After all, for them, 300,000 soul stones was an unimaginable wealth. Swindler Master Mateto? Hearing these words, Yi Meng Yao's beautiful eyes showed a trace of coldness. "Damn swindler, do you think I won't recognize you just because you changed your identity? This guy is definitely a big swindler, Wu Wudi. Even if it's not Wu Wudi, it must be someone related to Wu Wudi. It can't be wrong." Her intuition told her that this Master Mateto was probably the person she was looking for. "Good guy. I thought this bastard only dared to stay in the virtual world and didn't dare to show up in the real world. I didn't expect him to come out and commit a crime so soon, and it's a shocking case." Yi Meng Yao gritted her teeth. If this swindler continues to deceive, I don't know how many people will be deceived by him until their families are ruined. I absolutely can't let this happen. Of course, this was only the surface reason. What made her extremely angry was that this bastard had deceived her own family. Her sister seemed to have been deceived by this shameless person. All day long, she fantasized about entering the virtual world to become a mountain bandit and become a mountain king, burning, killing, and pillaging. All of this was because of this shameless person, her pure and flawless sister. If it wasn't for the appearance of Wu Wudi, how could such a thing have happened? Of course, more importantly, she wanted to take revenge on the novice village. As the saintess of the Lingyun sect, the saintess of the elves, a peerless genius that only appears once in 10,000 years, she actually suffered such humiliation. A guy like this who knew her dark history had to be killed quickly. "Immediately convey my order." Thinking of this, Yi Meng Yao gritted her teeth. "Who knows the whereabouts of Master Mateto? Immediately tell me. I will personally go out and capture this little thief alive." "What?" Chapter 1198. At this moment, a spaceship was sailing in space. Whoosh! Xia Ping was sitting in the quiet room of the spaceship, inhaling and exhaling the energy between the universe. Immediately, the blood in his body trembled as if lava was flowing through every meridian. The surrounding space seemed to be in a state of distortion, and there seemed to be a divine bird totem behind him, showing a red light, like a sun hanging high in the sky. Just a little bit more. At this moment, Xia Ping opened his eyes. He originally wanted to break through to the divine power realm, but he found that now was not the best time to do so. Although he had reached the late stage of the fulfillment realm, it was not complete. Only in this realm, when the divine sense and magical power reached a complete level, could the promotion to the divine power realm be considered a solid foundation. Otherwise, in the future, it would definitely be dragged down by an unstable foundation. Moreover, if he wanted to advance to the divine power realm, he must condense the divine power talisman and master a martial Dao divine power. If there was a slight mistake, all his previous efforts would be wasted. He needed to find an absolutely safe and quiet place with abundant spiritual energy to cultivate in seclusion. At this moment, he was still on the spaceship, and it was not a good place for seclusion. Suddenly, the system's voice sounded. Congratulations to the host for arousing the hatred of many soul race experts in the Blood Soul continent. This time, you have a total of 1 billion hatred points. I hope you will continue to work hard. 1 billion hatred points. Xia Ping clenched his fists and was overjoyed. In order to obtain the Soul Seal secret technique, he had spent 800 million hatred points. Now that he had 1 billion hatred points, he had made up for the loss at once. He carefully calculated that he had a total of 1.08 billion hatred points. Moreover, this trip to the Blood Soul continent was also a great harvest, obtaining 400,000 soul stones. Such a large number of soul stones was enough for him to cultivate to a higher realm. In addition, he also obtained a large number of elixirs and pills from Fan Ming and the others, and even a lot of treasured weapons. If he sold them, the value would be quite amazing. At the same time, he also obtained a large amount of money from the 7 Kills gang and the others. Excluding the 1 billion universe dollars spent to repair the stars, he had 590 million universe dollars. The money is still too little. Xia Ping touched his chin. He wanted to buy a super weapon to protect the cloud realm, but it would cost at least 10 billion universe dollars. Now he only had about 600 million universe dollars in cash, which was still too little. However, if he sold all 400,000 soul stones, he could easily raise 10 billion universe dollars. After all, the value of soul stones was quite shocking, and many cultivators were eager to get their hands on them. Should I sell the soul stone? Xia Ping said to himself. Don't sell the soul stone. Hearing this, Corinne immediately said, soul stones are quite precious ores in the universe. They can enhance soul energy. Apart from the Blood Soul continent, they are rarely seen in other places. If you sell these soul stones now, I'm afraid it will be quite difficult to find them again. Money can be earned at any time. The problem is that once the soul stones are sold, it won't be so easy to buy them back. It indicated that soul stones were much more precious than universe dollars and couldn't be sold casually. More importantly, the news that you've obtained hundreds of thousands of soul stones has spread to a dozen or so star regions nearby. Corinne said in a deep voice, countless martial artists in the universe are eyeing you covetously like a tiger watching its prey. They are always staring at people who are trying to sell large amounts of soul stones. If you sell these soul stones, many people will definitely know that you are Master Mutato. At that time, the enemies that will be attracted will be immeasurable. Of course, you have the protection of Dark North Sage, so there may not be any danger to your life. The problem is that doing so will make you the target of public criticism, and you will encounter ensuing trouble. Xia Ping nodded. He had also been reading the news on the virtual network these days. He knew that the news that Master Mutato had obtained hundreds of thousands of soul stones had already been deliberately leaked by the people of Soul Race. It was estimated that the humans in the nearby dozen or so star regions wanted to find the local tyrant Master Mutato and kill him to seize his treasures. If he sold a large number of soul stones, then everyone would know that he was Master Mutato. That's right, soul stones can't be sold. It seems that I have to find other ways to make money. Xia Ping touched his chin. Corinne said, by the way, previously on the virtual network, you used the identity of Wu Wudi to cause a lot of trouble. Now there are a bunch of people who are constantly sending private messages to you through virtual accounts, trying to contact you. Some people want to find trouble with you, some people want to worship you as a teacher, and there are even people who want to cooperate with you to do big business. Corinne's expression was very strange. Although Xia Ping cheated more than $1 billion universe dollars, causing many people to suffer heavy losses, and also making many people hate Xia Ping very much, wishing to tear him to pieces. But there are also some people, especially some swindlers, who worship Xia Ping as an idol, hoping to learn some useful knowledge from Xia Ping and become rich overnight. After all, not every swindler can cheat more than $1 billion universe dollars and also come out unscathed. This is already the highest realm of swindling and can become a grandmaster. Who cares about those private messages? Block them all. Xia Ping waved his hand. He was too lazy to pay attention to these junk messages. No, one of them wants to cooperate with you. He claims to be the general manager of the Universe Book Media Company's branch in Flowing Cloud Star Field. The other party seems to want to cooperate with you. Corinne said in a deep voice. Universe Book Media Company. What company is this? Xia Ping asked. Corinne explained, this is the largest book media company in the whole universe. The books they produce can be found in every corner of the universe, and their influence is enormous. Although they can't compare to the Universe Express Company, the Universe Bank, and other super forces, they can also be regarded as relatively large forces, and their wealth can rival a country. The general manager of this company's branch in Flowing Cloud Star Field wants to cooperate with you. I think it is profitable. So, I think it is better to inform you. Xia Ping asked, looking for me to cooperate? What does that company's branch manager want to cooperate with me for? How does he want to cooperate to swindle money? He looked puzzled. He seems to want to cooperate with you to publish a book about swindling. The corners of Corinne's mouth twitched. That guy seems to think that you are a grandmaster of swindling and also very famous. If you publish a book, it will definitely attract a lot of people to buy it, thereby making a lot of money. Corinne felt that the branch manager was definitely not a good person, digging into the pile of money. Interesting, then contact him and see what he wants to do. Xia Ping said. Corinne nodded and immediately contacted the general manager. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.